Stay tuned to News Today at 3 p.m. from Monday to Friday on SABC News.
Information-hungry viewers stay with SABC News, as issues on the West are different from issues on the East or here in Johannesburg. So it is not surprising that people who follow the news know that there are two things for sure: that anything can happen, and SABC News will tell you when it does. Because we keep the nation fully informed. We are SABC News.
Very good morning to you from Auckland Park here in Johannesburg. The festive season is very much well underway right now. Of course, the only ones that seems to be working still is myself and Elvis President. Of course, Kena Mahamati is also with us, Elvis. Yes. But at this time of the year, we seem to always do the same things, and we always seem to have the same kind of things in the news, isn't it?
Yes, because what happened now, even, is that a Santon man, Van Sassanov, who posted comments on a picture of a packed Durban beachfront at the weekend, and he wrote, listen to this, Ewena must have smelled like the inside of Zuma's beep, 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 an apparent reference to the president.
Yeah, we just don't have that level of respect anymore. So we asked a question on screen to you. What is your reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media? We've got a comment in already. People are tweeting us earlier. Africa Mangungu says, Newsroom, any racist utterances on social media must be prosecuted and effective surveillance must be set up. Moves our foot though, Elvis.
That moves a foot because the hate speech bill is one of those things that will probably curb this in the long run, and we'll keep you up to speed with that as it continues next year for implementation.
Now, a race war is also hotting up on the west coast of the Western Cape, in Saldanha Bay to be exact. People are left fuming there after access road to beaches were reportedly closed off, and residents living close to the beachfront were issued with passes granting them exclusive access to the beach.
Now the access
Dom pass, they called it.
That's a Dom pass because the access was apparently reminiscent of that Dom pass that black South Africans were forced to carry under the apartheid regime. So here's the question we ask, Evan.
Should a beach pass be allowed in today's South Africa? 33% say yes, 67% say no way. 87 of you have voted at this time of the morning. Keep voting. We'd love to see how that one ends.
Well, there's also a comment on that, we believe, Eben, on this one.
A couple, yeah.
Africa says yes, it's for security reasons, but depend on who puts that up.
Sinitamba says, and this is interesting for me, and maybe we should send this on to Griselda. Sinitamba says, in East London, the municipality, they always issue permits to pass to the beach.
Don't pass to the beach, an open beach which doesn't belong to anybody,
to nobody,
but the country.
To all of us.
Yes.
To all of us. You should be free to go to the seaside at your leisure, especially at this time of the year when we all need a little bit of a break from our lives.
But you can let us know what's on your mind on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page.
Yeah, there's a Monday morning still, and there's news to be had. Lots of housekeeping to be done. We'll get it underway with Elvis straight away.
The African Union Commission chairperson, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, will address her first and only State of the Continent media briefing in Durban a month before her four-year term ends. Migrant community leaders and civil society organizations are to stage a protest outside Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba's office today. And police have arrested more than 3,000 motorists since 1st of December as traffic authorities clamp down on drunken driving, speeding and reckless road behavior. No, I promise you, you don't want to be part and parcel of that, because if they do catch you, you'll spend some time in jail over the festive season.
What a nice time of the year to be in jail, I can tell you that. Not that I have any experience, but anyway.
Well, that's what we got to have for you shortly in the news. But before we get there, let's find out from Kendall Makamate what happened over the weekend, which was a very busy weekend in sport.
Well,
But
fantastic
before that,
weekend.
do you have any experience of being behind bars at this time of the year, Ken?
This time of the year, absolutely not.
Never.
Not been in jail.
I have, because I spend a lot of time at home with my wife.
Ooh, no comment, Elvis. I'll be moving on swiftly from that comment. Good morning to you. This is what we've got for you in the sports today.
With the ball into that box here now. A heavy touch from Katsande, but still going. Still Katsande! Still Katsande!
Kaizer Chiefs bring some early Christmas joy to Naturena as they finally eke out a league win after 7 times of trying.
Surely now, Chiefs have the points.
De Bruyne.
A sterling effort by Raheem sees Manchester City turn back the clock as they come from behind to beat Arsenal 2-1 at the Etihad.
Sterling! Never mind the forces in the middle. He's a one-man wrecking force. Arsenal have lost their lead. Parity's gone as well. City in a position to win from behind in the Premier League for the first time in 4 years.
Oh, that was the ball. That was the ball. That's out. That could be it. Steve Smith could have done it. He thinks he's won the test match.
Pakistan staged an exciting run chase but fall 40 short as Steve Smith snuffs out their tremendous effort with a run out. Now, all this and more we've got for you later on in the Sports Bulletin at about 10:40. For now, it is back to Elvis, who's got the news.
Thank you, Kendall. Our top story this morning. African Union Commission Chairperson Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma will address her first and only State of the Continent media briefing in Durban a month before her 4-year term ends. Now, it will be the first address of its kind in recent African Union history. It is not known why KwaZulu-Natal was chosen as the venue. The AU headquarters are in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Dlamini-Zuma's tenure as the AU Commission chairwoman ended in July, but it was extended to January when a new chairperson is to be voted in. Incidents of racism have yet again surfaced in some of the country's coastal cities. A Johannesburg man has caused an outrage on social media after posting what is considered to be a racist comment, referring to a photo showing a crowded Durban beachfront. The African National Congress Youth League is expected to lay criminal charges against him today. In a separate incident, the Saldanha Bay municipality in Cape Town has also been in the spotlight after being accused of racism by some residents who claim that they have been barred from the beachfront. Reports say the DA-led municipality has issued passes to residents living in close proximity to the beachfront, granting them exclusive access, while those who live in the residential area have been barricaded out. The move has been heavily criticized by the African National Congress, which says that the access control is reminiscent of the Dompas that black South Africans were forced to carry under apartheid. So what do you make of all of that? That's the question we pose to you on the poll, as well as our question for today. Let's take a look at the poll once again. Here it is. Should a beach pass be allowed in South Africa today? 33% of you are saying yes. Now, that's a surprising 33% there. I'd like to evaluate that 33%. 67% are saying no. So you've got 23 hours to go. We got 87 votes in thus far. We'll keep you posted on that. Then we also have the question for you that focus almost on a similar trend in terms of where we are today, looking at the racist outburst by a Johannesburg man. There's the question on your screen. What is your reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media? Let us know on the Twitter handle as well as on the Facebook page. Meanwhile, traffic authorities are planning a clampdown on road traffic violations over the Christmas long weekend in an effort to reduce crashes, injuries and fatalities. Motorists have been urged to exercise caution, be aware of pedestrians and respect the rules of the road. More than 3,000 motorists have been arrested since December the 1st on charges of drunken driving, speeding and reckless road behavior. To deal with the challenge, The Mpumalanga government has set up roadblocks on all major roads, linking it with other provinces. Last night, an SABC News crew spent the night on the N2 towards KwaZulu-Natal.
This is the N2 highway between Ermelo and Piet Retief. It is one of the busiest roads in Mpumalanga as it leads to KwaZulu-Natal. Traffic volumes from Thursday until Sunday have increased due to the holiday season. But no car passes this roadblock without going through a thorough check.
We stop the vehicles, we check all the defects that we pick up on the vehicle. We check the tires, we check the status of the drivers. We check also the status of the motor vehicle that are still roadworthy. So if so ever we pick up any offences, we then issue the fine there.
Motorists have welcomed the roadblock.
A very good thing now in Christmas, good for the roads, safety.
This is a good thing for our safety. Now we travel knowing we are safe. We appreciate it.
Also lending a hand is the South African Defence Force as well as the South African Police Service. The roadblock is operated 24 hours a day. With close to 1 million traffic offenders nabbed here, some paying their fines, officials say they will be here until next January. Sibongile Mkanimpolweni, SABC News, between Ermelo and Piet Retief in Mpumalanga.
3 people, including a 4-month-old infant, have died in a fire at an illegally occupied warehouse in Alexandra, north of Johannesburg. 2 people were seriously injured and have been admitted to a hospital. Several shacks inside the warehouse also went up in smoke, leaving hundreds of people without shelter.
The smoldering remains of the raging inferno. Just meters away, the body of a man and his 4-month-old baby were found. The body of a woman was found in an adjacent shack.
We are investigating a case of inquest, but at the moment, we still have to wait for the docs to come and check if there are still any other bodies in the fire here.
Now, attempts to salvage the little that's left. Homes, furniture, and personal belongings were engulfed by the flames. About 85 shacks once stood inside this warehouse with hundreds of families living here. All that remains now is a trail of destruction and debris, their lives destroyed in just a matter of minutes. David Mehula has lived here for 16 years with his 7 children.
I have lost everything, including the children's clothes, and I'm not employed.
The cause of the fire is still being investigated, but human error has not been ruled out. As these families pick up the pieces, they are adamant they will rebuild their homes here once again. Mangoba Mchunu, SABC News, Alexandra.
Migrant community leaders and civil society organizations are to stage a protest outside Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba's office today against what they call his reckless comments about illegal immigrants. Mashaba sparked an outcry recently when he stated in his 100 days in office address that illegal foreign nationals living in Johannesburg must be treated as criminals since they had come to South Africa illegally and that they should leave the city. Mashaba says he wants the help of the national government to deal with this problem. Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gagaba says they're willing to partner with Mashaba to curb the flow of illegal migrants to the city. Now, to start off that conversation, let's now go over to Evan.
Yeah, Elvis, it's caused quite a stir, didn't it? The last couple of weeks, actually, or so. Actually, there's been a meeting now with the Home Affairs Minister and the Mayor in Johannesburg. Fortunately, we managed to speak to the Mayor last week, but also there are some issues that were raised by Amnesty International. They say that they cannot believe that in today's day and age that a mayor of a city like Johannesburg could even utter such well, such comments. Now, this is the city of Johannesburg's Mayor Herman Mashaba. He's since pleaded with the Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba to deal with the large influx of what he calls illegal migrants. Mashaba says South Africa is the only country that allows people to live in it illegally. Now, earlier we sat down with Mr. Mashaba and we asked him what he meant when he said illegal immigrants are linked to criminal activity.
I've said they help in actually compounding the challenge of crime in our city. Because when you have such big numbers of people, we have 115,000 people in hijacked buildings living in totally deplorable conditions. And every time our law enforcement agencies have to deal with these matters, our students from the universities living alongside all these hijacked buildings, they're being robbed on a daily basis. And law enforcement agencies are finding it difficult to deal with people with no papers, because some of them, even if they get arrested, a day or two later, they're back in the streets because our system is unable to handle this lawlessness. And now I made an appeal to the national government, Home Affairs in particular, to say, please assist us, ensure that people coming into our city are here, coming in legally, and please ask them when they're in our country and in our city, please make sure that they respect the laws of this country. And I'm saying it is your responsibility. And those who do not qualify to be here, please get them out of our city. That's what I'm asking for, to live in a country where there's a rule of law. I don't believe anyone would have a problem with us because we're the only country in the world that is allowing something like this. Show me any other country that would allow you, Elvis, to go into Botswana or Lesotho or anywhere in the world without the paperwork. Don't go through the border. Look at what will happen to you. Any country in the world except South Africa. Why must South Africa be allowed to be a country where we harbor criminals?
Now, in response to that, Amnesty International, they've condemned Herman Mashaba's comments, describing them as dangerous and divisive.
Since 2008, Amnesty International has monitored long-standing patterns of discriminatory attitudes and practices towards refugees, migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa, either by the general public, some government departments and the police services. This discrimination has continued with impunity. It is in this context that Amnesty International believes that the comments made by the Honourable Mayor Herman Mashaba are discriminatory and inflammatory. They're also dangerous and divisive because these comments are not based on any empirical evidence. Instead, the claims are based on prejudice against refugees, migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa. The statements also undermine human rights enshrined in the Bill of Rights of our Constitution, which affirms the protection of the human rights of all people in South Africa.
Of course, there'll be a protest outside the Mayor's office in Johannesburg a little bit later today. For that full interview with both Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba and Amnesty International's Shireen Mukadam, who was in that clip, we will broadcast both those interviews in full at 10 o'clock this morning. Don't miss it. Stay tuned because it is very interesting what's coming out of that in light of the protest that's taking place in Johannesburg. Of course, our question deals with, what's called racism around our beaches. Now, we've had another outrage on social media. We ask you, what's the reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media? Africa, in response to that question, he says, any racist utterances on social media must be prosecuted and effective surveillance must be set up. Keep it coming at SABC Newsroom. Of course, we're also running a poll. Now, our poll, well, with regards to a beach pass. Yeah, taking us back 25, 30 years. Should a beach pass be allowed in a democratic South Africa is what we ask you. Yes, we have a Sultana Bay municipality. They say we got 99 votes in, 66%. Two-thirds of people say no ways in today's South Africa can we have beach passes where you need a permit to go certain places in the context of South Africa history. It is simply unacceptable, you say. Let's take a look at your tweets on that question. Should a beach pass be, should it even be allowed in today's South Africa? Shafana says, No, no. Only a person that have a permit to be allowed. The difference between a beach pass and a permit. Sergio says we shouldn't politicize everything. The beaches in Durban had always been blocked. It has been happening for years, says Sergio. Africa comes back. He says, yes, beach pass if it's for security reasons. And is that open for abuse at times? Keep it coming. Should a beach pass be allowed in today's South Africa? That's our poll for today. Also, if you have a view on the latest racial incidents, racist incidents around, well, the beaches here in South Africa and how people use them, at SABC Newsroom, that's where you interact with us. Let's take a look at our picture of the day. Now, this one comes from Mary Galiendo, and she says, and well, the famous Hungarian glitz and glam actress and icon Zaza Gabor. Yes, she died at the ripe old age of 99 of a heart attack yesterday. She was famous for being married 9 times. Now, this caption is a fantastic one. It kind of contextualizes her life. She says, I'm a great housekeeper. Every time I leave a man, I keep the house. Zaza Gabor. Rest in peace, darling. That was the other one that she was famous for. Now, our comment of the day, this one comes from Murray Williams, who says, politician Stephen Otter was killed during a house robbery. Had the courage to serve on his own terms. His contribution was thus remarkably pure. Rest in peace, fierce colleague. Wonderful tweet there. Now, the courts are still on. Courts are not on holiday. Let's take a look at what's in the courts here in South Africa right now. We'll start in Klerksdorp, or Klerksdorp, for those of you that live there, where a suspected brothel owner and human trafficker is expected to appear in the Klerksdorp's Magistrates Court in the Northwest Province after police freed no less than 37 women and young girls from this brothel, as it's called, the Nigerian national that was arrested by the Hawks there as well on Saturday. Down in Cape Town, 3 men are expected to appear in the Blue Downs Magistrates Court in connection with the murder of a police constable at Wallerstein there in the Western Cape. Still in Cape Town, another Cape Town man is expected in the court there after he allegedly knocked down a group of tourists, killing a Swedish national and leaving 5 others injured last week. That happened on Wednesday evening in the early evening. More news out of Cape Town. Again, a construction worker arrested in connection with the murder of a Stellenbosch University student. The 20-year-old Robin Pierce is expected to appear in the Cape Town Magistrates Court as well. Interesting cases. We'll keep you updated on those developments as they happen today. Now, we're going to take a short break. You're watching Newsroom. Don't go away.
Water-wise, water is an essential need. The scarcity of it could lead to loss of many lives, including livestock, plants, and much more. It requires us to use it sparingly and responsibly in times of need, failing which our taps and sanitation will not function. For more on water and weather issues, stay tuned to News Today, every Friday at 4:45 Central African Time. SABC News, making you water-wise.
So people with prosthesis can live normal life.
Prosthesis actually manufactures the artificial limbs.
I can pick up stuff. My friends think it's awesome. I like my railway.
I can walk normally. There's nothing that I can do. It changed my life from the beginning to where I am now.
Dystrophic dysplasia is a type of dwarfism that affected all my major limbs.
Join Health Talk every Saturday for all your health news.
Information-hungry viewers stay with SABC News, as issues on the West are different from issues on the East or here in Johannesburg. So it is not surprising that people who follow the news know that there are two things for sure: that anything can happen, and SABC News will tell you when it does. Because we keep the nation fully informed. We are SABC News.
Welcome back. You're still with Newsroom here on SABC News. Now, each year, around 3,500 children are abandoned here in South Africa, and some reports suggest that the festive season contributes a massive portion of this figure. Now, over the past 5 years, a new term has been coined for abandonment of children on our beaches. This has become known as the beach crash. Yes, children are simply left by their parents for days or even weeks, and if they're lucky, they'll be taken care of by surrounding hospitals and homes. There are conflicting reports about the exact number of these cases, but as the beaches are filling up from this weekend onwards, to tell us more about this alarming situation, well, we are joined by Colonel Tembe Gambele from our Durban studios this morning. Colonel, thank you very much for joining us here in Newsroom. A very good morning to you.
Good morning to you and to all the viewers of SABC News.
Ma'am, I know we have to talk about the beach crash, but South Africa is talking today about the beach pass. I don't know if you've seen this. Down in the Western Cape, people are asked that they should have a beach pass in order to come to the beach. Is that even legal? Can you hear me, ma'am?
Not really.
Okay, let's leave the beach pass. Talk to us about the beach crash.
Oh, yes. In the Durban, I'll talk about the case, and more especially in the CPD along the beach. We have a lot of the children that are, we call them separated children, because most of the time they get reunited with the parents. It happens during this festive seasons. Like now, from the 16th up until yesterday, there were a lot of children that were separated to the parents. But fortunately, all of them, except one, that is still at the home in Point, that has not been reunited to the parent.
Colonel, just give me a quick idea. Is it true that quite often these children are abandoned on purpose by their parents so that they can be looked after by someone else for the festive season?
We cannot say they're abandoned on purpose, because remember at the beach there's so many people that are there, and the holiday people, they come there with the children once in a year or twice in the year. So the beach is packed up. Also, a parent will sometimes come with about 5 children to the beach, and it's just a weird blink of an eye, the child is then missing. But fortunately, we've got the child minders that are along the beach in the gazebos that are there. That's if a child is missing, they are taken to that gazebo for a certain period. And then if we discover that there's no one who's coming to claim the child, then the children are taken to the places, a home that is nearby, hospitals, and also the schools that we've got the contract arranged with them that we're going to take the children to that place.
Where does this name, the beach crash, then come from, Colonel?
Although I'm not familiar with the name, but I would think the people, when they go there, they just get too much excited. Then they don't worry about the children. They're excited, they enjoy themselves, and they don't look after their children. That's why then it goes up, the children are getting lost.
How many cases of abandonment do you usually receive at this time of the year compared to other months of the year, maybe?
Comparing to the volume of the people that are at the beach, it's not a lot. Because, like, for instance, from the 16th up until yesterday night, you only had about 155. It's not a lot because there are so many people and there are so many children that are at the beach, but all of them were reunited to their families.
Tell me quickly, if a child is abandoned at this time of the year, Where are they placed during the festive season? And are these places of safety, are they prepared for higher numbers of children that suddenly arrive?
Yes, they are prepared because in those places there are caregivers that are employed for that certain period to look after those children. It's about 4 to 5, and they stay there until the late hours of the night to make sure that when the parents come to claim their children, they find someone there. And also, we also request the children to have, the parents to have the identification so to minimize the theft of the children. Because remember, anyone can go there and say, this is my child, and you find out the real parent comes, then the child is missing. But we have never experienced such a case.
Colonel, now, what are the implications legally of a parent that abandons their child on purpose if you discover that at this time?
We should first have evidence that the parent purposely abandoned the child. But what we say to the parents, they must make sure that their children are around them. If they're not there, we've got the childminders there, they've got the bangles that they have. We advise the parents to take the children to those gazebos. They have their names in that bangle. It's a name and it's contact details for the parent or anyone, even if it's not someone who's at the beach, but anyone that can be contacted so that the child will be reunited with its parent.
Colonel, do you have any programs in place right now to address the issue of child abandonment?
Yes, like I said, we've got the childminders and the gazebo that are at the beaches. In those gazebos, there are people that are always there, including the police. They've got these bangles. In these bangles, we make sure that all the children, they have these bangles with the names of the parents written there, and also with the contact details of that person that had to be contacted. And also, we make sure that they are taken to that place at the home, in the nearest hospital, and also the home that is we have made the arrangements with, so that the children, even if they don't see their parents, but they are temporal guardians that they are with until the children are claimed by their parents.
Colonel, thank you very much for joining us here on Newsroom. Thank you very much once again, and we hope you all the best over the festive season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That is Colonel Tembe Gambele coming to us live out of Durban. Glad that sound was fixed in time for us to finish that interview on child abandonment. Now, we've been asking you the question of the day. What is your reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media? Now, I can tell you, of course, that what happened in this instance is that a Johannesburg man, he lashed out at a picture on a beach that must smell very badly, because we all know these pictures at this time of the year. That is what it is. Let's take a look at some of your tweets with regards to this issue. It's caused quite a lot of consternation, if one can call it that. Unati says, Newsroom, this racist comments are getting out of hand now. Something must be done before it's too late, says Unati. Of course, the hate crimes bill and hate speech bill is under discussion. Africa says any racists uttered on social media must be prosecuted and effective surveillance must be set up. The hate crimes bill and the hate speech bill is under discussion. Hopefully that will deal with it. So now down in Saldanha Bay, actually on the west coast, a beach pass. Yes, the municipality issued a beach pass system where only certain people, residents in this instance, are allowed to use a beach in a certain area. We ask you, should a beach pass be allowed in a democratic South Africa of today? Now, you guys, 113 of you have voted now. 33% say, yes, a beach pass should be allowed in today's South Africa. Are you kidding me, guys? 33% of you? With our history of the Dompa system, where you couldn't go to beaches even and the like. You know, where I grew up, Elvis, my friend, there was a big red sign that said beach and sea whites only. It really...
Yeah, even on benches, you know, you would pass on a bench and it would say whites only and no blacks allowed.
No blacks allowed. So we've got some tweets coming in from you on the beach pass here. Lucanio says, yep, that's what I'd expect of a neoliberal party that worships capitalism and elitism. Nothing to see. Yeah. talking about, of course, the municipality. It's a DA municipality down in Saldanha Bay that's taking all the stick today. Ayaka Ngwekazi says, Newsroom, we can't have places that are reserved for certain people. We are all human beings. Yes, that's in our Bill of Rights. That's what the struggle for freedom was all about at the end of the day. Tesetso Bodiba says, this is just madness, Newsroom. Yes, it is just madness. Those are the sentiments. At this time of the year, we have a lot of these incidents because these pictures are recurring pictures. When our beaches are packed at the end of every year, everyone gets a little bit of time off at this time of the year, Albert. So we all flock to the beaches and we all need to relax and we all need to kind of let your hair down a little bit so that next year we can come back refreshed. Some people don't see it like that, though.
They don't want you to rest. It seems like some people want to. Remember the sparrow? Well, the sparrow was one of them.
Yeah, it cost 150,000 South African rand, which kind of clears your head, I would think.
And it's going to cost some more for people that have an outrage or an outburst on social media.
Is that Mr. Sasinoff here from Sandton? You think he'll be under the pump? He was quite short and terse with the media.
Well, he's short and sweet with the media, but the ANC Youth League has got something to say about that. Now, for the latest on the story, we are now joined on the line by Tinta Kabani. He's the KZN ANC Youth League eThekwini Regional Secretary to tell us more. Very good morning to you and welcome, Tinta. Are you there, Tinta? Good morning to you. Can you hear me? Mr. Kabani, are you there? Well, it seems like that we have... Mr. Kabani, can you hear me now? Remember, that's the issue on the beachfront there. We're going to try and get hold of him and see if we can chat to him because they're laying charges against the Sandton man on the issue. So let's take a look. Meanwhile, what you have to say, let's go to Eben to tell us a little bit more what's happening on social media currently while we're trying to get hold of Kabani.
Yeah, well, they're busy fixing their lines there, Elvis. So I'll leave you to it. Let's move on and have a look at what else you can see on the Newsroom show. Of course, our Facebook page is quite a busy one. You can go there and like it. Don't forget about that. Can we just have a look? Well, unfortunately, as you can see there, well, there's our Facebook page. You can go there, like it. We'd love to hear what you say to what's on there right now. Unfortunately, I can't see anything. Let's rather take a look at what's happening from around the globe. We'll start in the United States. The USA Today reports that President-elect Donald Trump's controversial soft spot for Russia is based on decades of courting wealthy Russians to buy condos in his luxury high-rises and invest in his other real estate ventures. A close look at his business dealings reveals this. Then, in the United Kingdom, The Independent says an official estimate of deaths expected to be caused annually by antimicrobial resistance does not stand up to scientific scrutiny and undermines the fight against superbugs. A group of scientists have warned about this. Finally, in Israel, the Jerusalem Post reports that 9 wanted suspects for allegedly participating in the shooting of 2 PA security officers in August turned themselves in on Friday in Nablus. Now, of course, we're dealing with racism. The ANC Youth League say they're going to lay a charge against Mr. Sasinoff from Sandton. Elvis is standing by with that interview. Good to see that you fixed the wires there, Elvis.
Well, we fixed the wires, and let's see if we can now speak to Mr. Tinta Kabani there in KZN. He is the KZN ANC Youth League eThekwini Regional Secretary. A very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, we're asking our question to our listeners today, their reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media. But firstly, can you confirm the racist incident on Facebook and that you, as the KZN ANC Youth League, will be opening criminal charges?
Well, I can confirm that it did happen and that I'm actually on my way now because we're scheduled to at 10. Unfortunately, as you know, as far as the criminality matter, at this point, the government is still dealing with the bill on speech. So, yes, we are in charge. Expectations aren't very high, because we've seen the past that no one really suffers consequences for comments like this.
Now, the comment that the Santon man, Ban Sassoon, posted says, wena must have smelt like the inside of Zuma's, and I won't mention that word on national television. Now, that's an apparent reference to the president, Jacob Zuma. What do you make of that?
Well, as we said before, it's really sad that you'd see a young person, 22 years into our democracy, one, not have any respect for an elder, but also a president, a head of state. But also, if you look at the picture that was posted, it's a picture of black people at the beach. And the only thing that links Jacob Zuma to these people is the fact is the color of their skin. For us, it's clearly racial. We reject comments like this. We reject any form of racism, whether it's coming from a black person or a white person or an Indian person or any color for that matter. And it is really unfortunate.
Now, we know that during this time of the year, people want to relax, they want to chill out, but these incidents happened. We've seen Penny Sparrow last night let rip on social media. What do you think is the reason for this? Are people just getting too drunk and go on social media and put their thoughts on there?
Well, I must say first, this really makes you worry. If somebody is able to put up comments like that on social media, it makes you doubt their moral fiber, but also that of the people around them. Because if you're able to put something like this on social media, what are you saying to people that you hang out with on a daily basis? What's the conversation between you and your mates? So, well, also if you really analyze it, the beaches, or some of the beaches, the ones in question, beaches previously during apartheid were reserved for white people only. So it speaks to an apartheid mentality, it speaks to a racist mentality, and it's really unfortunate.
Now, a couple of days ago, the country celebrated Reconciliation Day. What does this do to efforts really to unite our country as a whole and our people as a whole?
It takes us 10 steps back. Reconciliation has been the top of the agenda for the ANC government since 1994. There have been massive strides made. But when people do things like this, it really makes you question how honest not just the individuals, but what an entire race is to this sort of reconciliation. We saw recently, we must be honest about the day of reconciliation. It means different things to many people. The African community still celebrates the day of the covenant. They still go to the Battle of Blood River where they conquered Childline. And they still celebrate their victory there. And that makes us wonder, because it's been something that's been high on our discussion with the people now. Does it really have the significance it should have? And for the people who act like this, it just confirms that.
Yes. Now, there's another incident in Cape Town, where the Saldanha Bay municipality in Cape Town has also been in the spotlight after being accused of racism by some residents who claim that they have been barred from the beachfront by carrying these dom passes that only the residents can have, and if you don't have it, you will be barred from entering the area. What do you say to that, and is that even legal in a democratic South Africa?
Well, in 1994, as far as I understand, we ended all restrictions on movement of persons in this country. If something like that really is going on, we stand firmly against that. We believe then we'll be in contact. I put the phone down. We'll be in contact with our colleagues in the Western Cape for them to investigate what's going on there. Completely, we can't have that. It's a dumb pass in 2016, almost 23 years into our democracy. It's unacceptable.
The hate speech bill is in the pipeline as the ANC Youth League. Will you be supporting that bill?
We call on the government to accelerate that bill because we do feel as if people get away too easily with this. A slap on the wrist. For us, it makes no sense to ask a person who has got lots of money just to pay a small fine for racism. It must be made criminal. People must now start suffering real consequences. We support the hate speech bill. We encourage the ANC government really accelerate its implementation and its passing in Parliament.
I thank you so much for your time, Tinta, and you'll keep us updated whether or not you're going to lay that charge.
I will be on a hoping then. Yes. Hopefully we'll have an incident like this.
That was Tinta Tabani, KZN, ANC Youth League Equatonia Regional Secretary. Right now, remember that we're asking you that question as well as the poll. You can let us know what's on your mind on the Facebook page as well as on the Twitter handle. What is your observation and reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media? Let us know. But right now, let's take a break. We'll be right back after that.
Whether you're looking for a restaurant, public transport or a university, a lot of us use our smartphone apps to find the closest one. On Network, we chat to those who play a role in Africa's tech space.
We have taken financial services closer to the people. Yeah, mobile penetration is pretty high.
Apple take 30%, keep 70%.
On Network, we give you Africa's social media and technology news. That's Network with Ms. Phumelele Zondi every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
Hello again. Now, as the festive season gets into high gear, full swing this week, government and the president has encouraged all citizens to take the necessary precautions to have a safe holiday experience and to ensure the safety of their children by being aware of their movements. However, during the festive season, child abandonment and the abuse of children, the numbers rise. Joining us from our Durban studio is the director of Childline, Nomvuyo Shabango. A very good morning to you, Nomvuyo. Thanks for being with us on Newsroom.
Morning.
Nomvuyo, just give me a quick idea. Child abandonment, beach crash. Do you know this?
It is a new concept to me.
What do you know about it? Because, you know, I spoke a little bit earlier to the police. They say, listen, they can't prove that people abandon their children on purpose so that, you know, they can do other activities, whatever those activities are. But do you have a scenario like that you're aware of?
It's difficult to say that people are abandoning their children purposely in the beach because of the number of people that are there. But what we do say to parents, they need to make sure that they know where their children are all the time, and they can keep an eye on their children. So when their eye moves from their child, they need to start getting worried and make sure that they can find their child immediately.
What does the law say about abandoning your child, and what kind of penalties could a parent or even a guardian face in this case if you're found to abandon your child on purpose?
Abandoning your child on purpose has got a jail sentence. So, but that would have to be established first as to whether that was the motive. Because one of the things that we have to accept, that the Durban beaches are full. There's lots of people. And people need to make sure that children are with responsible adults that can look after themselves. Maybe we need to move away from asking older children to look after children because they are also going to the beach to have fun. So there needs to be an adult who's going to be able to supervise the children all the time.
Yeah, it's very convenient to do that. I do that sometimes myself with my eldest to look after the younger ones. And maybe there's a lesson for all of us to learn there. But the statistics seem to be a little bit irregular. Tell us about the numbers at this time of the year, especially December and January. Is there a massive spike in children that get lost now?
Yes, there's generally is, although I couldn't give you the exact figures. And that is not necessarily in the beaches alone. And you find that maybe somewhere in the train stations, in the bus stations, where there is magnitude of people that would normally going to various places, you find that children may take away their hands from their parents and then they become separated.
Nomvuyo, I also want to talk about the other thing that rises at this time of the year. For those of you watching at home, the thing that's concerning is that child abuse also rises quite dramatically during this time of the year. Why is that? Is it consumption of alcohol or is it a confluence of factors?
There would be a variety of reasons. Number one, I think because it's a festive season, everybody gets into a festive mood and believes that everybody is in the same mood that they are. And yet other people have got various agendas that they are pushing. And people know, the predators would know that the parents are less vigilant at this time. So the abuse would continue. And also you get children that are not suspecting, that are visiting from various places, and they come to this area where they don't know about this abuser that lives in this place and maybe had not been told, and they fall victim of that. But also alcohol consumption is one of the things as well, because we talked about the partying, the festive mood that everybody becomes in, and then children sometimes seems to take the back seat in terms of priority for people.
Nomvuyo, one of the things that really shocked me this week was the story about revenge killing of a child. Mum and dad fight, and then the child gets killed by either partner in a kind of revenge motive. Do you see this kind of thing increasing here in South Africa, or was the last one we saw just an isolated incident, or is it something we should be aware of?
It's something that has happened before. I can't say it's on the increase, but it's something that we need to be aware of. And it's always looking at not fighting using the children, because somehow children become the weapon when the parents tend to fight. Sometimes it ends in an unfortunate situation where a child actually loses their life. But it's something that we warn parents against, to say if you are fighting, your children must not be a weapon, and children should always be protected from violence between parents.
Nomvuyo, thank you very much for the great work you do at Childline, and I wish you a very safe and pleasant festive season. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsroom.
Thank you.
That, of course, is the director of Childline here in South Africa. Her name is Nomvuyo Shabangu. She joined us from Durban, talking about a whole scenario of issues of how do we keep our children safe and what do we do at this time of the year to stay safe and stay out of trouble. It seems as if, well, trouble is around every corner at this time of the year, as well as, of course, a little bit of fun, a little bit of pleasure for Kaizer Chiefs fans. Finally, the pain has ended. They finally won a game. Yep, they finally won a game. Kaizer Chiefs, they beat Polokwane City 3-2 at the FNB Stadium yesterday, and now suddenly they make as if they're going to win the league again.
I don't think they've gone that far, Evan. To be honest, I think they're just celebrating the fact that they've broken the back of that duck. You know, it's been nine games without a win. Draws as well as losses. 6 draws, 3 losses that Kaizer Chiefs have actually been able to earn so far. And Steve Compella was under a lot of pressure, and he was really relieved, man, when Katsande scored the stoppage time goal.
I want to talk about Steve Compella, because Steve Compella seems to be the man that's constantly in the crosshairs. Fans, they've been wanting to get rid of him for the last year. But it seems as if the hierarchy at Kaizer Chiefs, they're quite happy with the work that he's doing. Would that be accurate?
100% accurate, because they haven't done anything to say anything about him not being the coach. So they went and picked this man from Maritzburg United, paid him out of his contract. They obviously saw something in Steve Compella, which they're still waiting to get. And that's why they've stood behind their man. They've not come out into the media and said anything untoward about their coach. So I would say that the pressure that we think that he's under, it's something that we would expect him to be under, considering the Kaizer Chiefs is a mighty club. It's known throughout the world, and their performances have been nothing to write home about.
Says the chairperson of the Kaizer Chiefs Supporters Club here at SABC News, Kendall Makamate. Thank you for joining us today, Kendall.
Just because it's not about pirates, isn't it?
We always have a little bit of needle, because, you know, I'm a Buccaneer, been one my whole life, and Kendall, of course, supports the Glamour Boys. But, you know, nobody's perfect. Here's what it is.
No, I do not, but it's fine. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. Anyhow, let's get a first weather update this morning, because at this time of the year, it's quite important to know what the weather is doing.
Well, thank you very much, Evan. Let's see what's happening. It's actually quite interesting. We've got this storm cluster to the southern parts of Angola going towards Zambia, but also over the eastern parts of Mozambique, you'll see another close storm cluster, and we're expecting scattered showers for today going into tomorrow. It's just because of these low pressures that we're having, bringing a lot of onshore flow into Mozambique, and also over that central part, Angola going into Zambia. Scattered showers are expected, but then over the southern African region, only isolated showers, mainly for a northwest going to the eastern Free State. Today, later on, Gauteng, we're also expecting isolated showers, but scattered showers are expected in places of the Eastern Cape going to central parts of KZN. Tomorrow, we're expecting isolated showers as that high brings in lots of moisture into the eastern parts, just mainly isolated showers for Gauteng going into Limpopo, including a bit of Mpumalanga for tomorrow. But over the central part of Africa, we're still seeing that storm cluster stays mainly over Zambia, Angola, just bringing scattered showers in that wide area in the central parts. But we do have a warning from South African Weather Service. Please do be careful. We're expecting hot and dry windy conditions over the central parts of Northern Cape and also parts of Eastern Cape and Western Cape. Isolated showers. We're still expecting those severe thunderstorms, which might bring you a bit of hail and very strong gusting winds in the eastern parts of just the Eastern Cape, touching a bit of KZN. But now just your temperatures, you see those extremely hot temperatures, 42 for Upington, 38 for DR, Bloemfontein peaking at 37 degrees, and northern parts starting to cool down, Polokwane at 28, but just central parts, we're still seeing those isolated showers with temperatures peaking at 30 for Bulawayo, Harare at 26 degrees Celsius. We're still seeing those hot temperatures even further northern parts of Africa, where we're still seeing 33 for Kilimanjaro, cooling in Kigali to 25, seeing Dar es Salaam at 33, Mombasa 32, and clear skies expected for Nairobi and Kilimanjaro. Now, central parts are still expecting dry conditions, mainly over the interior, and just isolated showers expected over the extreme northern parts of Africa. And tomorrow still just similar conditions. We're expecting isolated showers over the extreme northern parts with partly cloudy conditions. Temperatures seeing 21 for Addis Ababa, 37 for places like Juba, and just going further north, it's starting to cool down. You see a bit of snow in some places, just like Tehran, just a bit of snow, peaking at 3 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. Cairo at 19 degrees. Just further north, still cool conditions expected over the extreme northern parts with those rainy weather. Just still expected scattered showers with 16 for places like Algiers and Rabat. Las Palmas expecting about 16 as a maximum. Now, over the central parts, still hot conditions. Bamako, Niamey, 38. Cooling down along the coastal areas. Abidjan at 25. You're watching Newsroom Weather. Back to you.
Now, this is Trends, of course, your one-stop serving of all that's juicy and trending in the world of entertainment and showbiz. My name, of course, is Refill Wemwilo.
I'm Dr. Sello Mutaung, and this is our talk.
A very good morning and welcome to Media Monitor. I'm your host, Alicia Jali.
My name is Dumila Matez.
My name is Mpo. What time is it? It's question time.
For your daily dose of current affairs, tune in to the SABC News Channel.
The fossil hominid sites at Sterkfontein Caves, known as Cradle of Humankind, were declared a World Heritage Site on the 2nd of December 1999. The Cradle of Humankind covers an area of over 47,000 hectares of privately owned land northwest of Johannesburg. Most of the site is on dolomite, a rock type which is slightly soluble in water. There are currently over 200 caves on the site and 13 fossil sites. We know that Australopithecus africanus were present in the cradle from about 2 to 4 million years ago. It is generally known that hominids are close relatives of human ancestors.
As a transgender activist, do you feel welcome? Are you free here in South Africa?
In South Africa, we think that 1994 just took an eraser and erased a lot of the issues of apartheid.
What is the difference between you and me?
You know, a person can easily say we're all human, but we need to embrace our differences.
The fact that it is called a gay club, why are other clubs not called other things?
It's a safety thing, you know. By virtue of actually speaking about this incident, brings about the question of why do you even need a club that needs to be called a gay club? I cannot walk into a club with my lover, my male lover. I cannot walk into Taboo, a South African club, and just hold my lover and we kiss, and then people think it's okay.
They do that?
Well, we do, but then there have been instances of actually people, bouncers walking in and actually telling you to stop or get out of the club.
Do you think it was a mistake that you were born a boy?
I've come to, not to peace with my body, but I've accepted myself where I am completely.
Somebody may say you are lying. Because if you have accepted yourself completely as you are, you would be the boy that your mom gave birth to.
I can self-actualize. I can become what I want to be at the end of the day.
Africa remains in the grip of a dry spell. It's led to water restrictions imposed across the country. About 20,000 cubic centimeters are being released per second. Authorities say that it could take 10 days. In the meantime, they're appealing to residents to use water sparingly. Transnet says that it's increased its revenue despite the weak economic conditions affecting volumes that it handled.
The company says going forward it will be investing in mergers and acquisition opportunities to expand Transnet services. It says while it does not believe South Africa will be downgraded, it has however begun negotiations with lenders to prepare for any eventualities.
Welcome back. It's just gone 10 o'clock here in the Newsroom studio. You're watching us live. We are from Johannesburg in South Africa until midday today. Rene Vest has just joined us. Of course, Kenda Mohamate is with us as always on the sports desk. Of course, our focus today is on Ben Sasanoff, this Santon man whose comments on a picture of a packed Durban beach at the weekend caused a whole lot of consternation. We ask you, what's your reaction to the latest racist outburst on social media? We've got quite a few tweets coming in. Rene, what are people saying?
So Jabulani says, people who make racist comments on social media are just doing it to trend and become famous as you give them airtime and attention.
Jabulani, it's cost the latest one 150,000 Rand, and with the hate speech bill coming, it might even cost you a little bit more. So I don't think people want to pay that much to be famous, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely needs to be looked into. And Unati Grootboom reckons that these racist comments are getting out of hand now. Something must be done before it is too late. Hashtag racism, hashtag beach pass.
Yes, that's the other one we're dealing with. We'll get there shortly. But what does Ukwanda say?
Ukwanda says, something must be done. Racists must fall.
Yeah, that's where we are right now. Racists must fall. Of course, we're asking you, we're running a poll. And our poll is about the beach pass. That's a similar vein. There's a beach pass now in Saldanha Bay in Western Cape, where only certain people, the ones who have the beach pass, are allowed to be on the beach. So we ask you, should this be allowed in today's South Africa? Considering our history, Kendall, our history where, people had to have passes to be in certain neighborhoods, you couldn't mix, you couldn't go certain places.
It's shocking. Considering our history, 34% people say yes, you should have a beach pass. That really gets to me. 34%.
It is quite high. Wow.
That's a shocker. Anyhow, let's take some of the comments on this question. Matibela says, no, they can't preserve some places because we are all equal. And that is a sober view.
And Candace says, never ever shall we stoop so low. Who told them to buy properties along the beach anyways?
Yeah, the beaches belong to all of us.
Yeah, and Kenneth Akibachia reckons the people should protest against the beach ban. In fact, people must go to that beach by force. Bus loads of people to go and help them integrate.
Yeah, Afrikaans Drama says the following. Newsroom, apartheid all over again. No, thank you. Beach pass.
Onati Grootboom says, this is a new South Africa. Everyone must be allowed everywhere they want to go.
Especially on the beach, especially in December, at the time of the year when we all need to relax a little bit and accept each other.
100%. The beaches are meant to be enjoyed by everybody. So this really needs to be looked into. And yes, we're going to give this airtime because it's something to be talked about. Can't not allow people to come to the beach because you own property close to the beach.
Yeah, I'm happy to have a braai and a quiet one with everyone who comes around at this time. Let's share in the spirit of sharing at this time of the year. It is festive season and we should show a little bit of caring. But there's some news to be had still today. Yes, the news never stops, never sleeps, 24/7. Rene is going to give us another update.
The African Union Commission chairperson Nkosana Dlamini-Zuma will address her first and only State of the Continent media briefing in Durban a month before her four-year term ends. Migrant community leaders and civil society organizations are to stage a protest outside Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba's offices today. And police have arrested more than 3,000 motorists since the 1st of December as traffic authorities clamp down on drunken driving, speeding and reckless road behavior. Before we get into that news, let's find out from Kendall what's happening in the sports.
Rene, thanks very much. We just came out of a cracker of a weekend. I know, Evan, you enjoyed some of the stuff that we saw.
Yeah, busy weekend. It was nice. It was nice to watch. I'm just happy that Man United is on a run now. 3 wins in a week changes everything. Suddenly I go into Christmas with a bit of a good feeling, you know.
Yeah, very interesting that you say that after what you had to say about Kaizer Chiefs, yes. But we'll save that for later, shan't we? Good morning. This is what we've got for you in the sports today.
With the ball into that box here now. Heavy touch from Katsande, but still going. Still Katsande!
Kaizer Chiefs bring some early Christmas joy to Naturena as they finally eke out a league win after 7 times of trying.
Surely now, Chiefs have the points.
De Bruyne. A sterling effort by Raheem sees Manchester City turn back the clock as they come from behind to beat Arsenal 2-1 at the Etihad.
Sterling! Never mind the forces in the middle. He's a one-man wrecking force. Arsenal have lost their lead. Parity's gone as well. City in a position to win from behind in the Premier League for the first time in 4 years.
Oh, that was the ball. That was the ball. That's out. That could be it. Steve Smith could have done it. He thinks he's won the test match.
Pakistan staged an exciting run chase, but 440 short as Steve Smith snuffs out their tremendous effort with a run out. All this and more we've got for you in the Sports Bulletin at 10:40. Be sure to stick around for it. For now, it is Renee who's got the news for you.
Thank you very much, Kendall. Migrant community leaders and civil society organizations are to stage a protest outside Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba's offices today against what they call his reckless comments about illegal immigrants. Mashaba sparked an outcry recently when he stated in his 100 days in office address that illegal foreign nationals living in Johannesburg must be treated as criminals since they had come to South Africa illegally and that they should leave the city. Mashaba says he wants the help of national government to deal with this problem. Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba says they're willing to partner with Mashaba to curb the flow of illegal migrants to the city. Meanwhile, the Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba says government has programs in place to deal with a large influx of illegal migrants. Gigaba has met with the City of Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba following a plea to deal with marked increase in illegal immigrants flocking to the cities. Mashaba says the issue is concerning.
The biggest challenge being faced by this city, it's a high level of unemployment. Our people are not working. Just under 900,000 of our people are unemployed in the city of 4.5 million people, 1 in 3. So it's a scary situation, and the youth being the biggest casualties, black youth being the worst affected. So if you're a black youth in this country or in the city, your chances of finding employment are very slim under the current situation. So we need to reverse this. So unemployment. Living conditions. We sit in the city of Johannesburg with 118 formal settlements. Informal settlements, more than half of them don't have any basic services whatsoever. People in the city of Johannesburg, the city that has been regarded as a world-class African city, with our people not having toilets, not having water, not having roads. Actually, for me, what is even more scary are people not having identity. You can imagine if you live in Carsens or live in Stratla or Alexander, or Motsoaledi, informal settlements where you don't have access road to your place. So if someone asks you, where do you live? People don't, they know, yes, I live in Carsens, but they don't have an address. So you can imagine what it does to that human being. Someone who for the last 10 years is with the children 10 to 15, these kids have never seen their parents, any of them, waking up in the morning to go to work. So we're destroying our communities. That is why we see alcohol and drug abuse ravaging our societies. And I'm saying, can we sit back as society, particularly for us as leadership? Do we sit back and watch our country being turned into this? I'm saying to you and everyone else, as a South African, I'm not prepared to sit and watch my country being turned into a lawless society, that one day, if we continue at this trajectory, one of those days will be declared the dysfunctional society. And unfortunately, South Africa has got the potential to be a great nation, and that's what we need to take the country to.
Now, if those are some of the challenges, Mayor, you've introduced a 10-point plan for a new and improved Johannesburg. Tell us about the plan and how will it be implemented?
Well, I think, obviously, out of the 10-point plan, I think I developed this with the city manager and all the senior executives and the MMCs. When I took over office the following week, I called all of them. We were about 120 of us. We spent 4 days on a workshopping, firstly, obviously, to introduce myself to the new administration and ensure that I understand what this big animal is all about, meeting all the senior executives in government. And that's how, after the 4 days, we developed this 10-point plan. Starting first, to say to the senior management, who over the years, for the last 22 years, they thought they were working for the political parties. I'm saying no. You're not employed by political parties. You're employed by government. Your responsibility as a professional public service is to serve any government elected legally by the electorate. That's your rule, your responsibility. So I said, you're not employed by the Democratic Alliance. You're working for government, and your responsibility, as I say, is to execute any manifesto by any party legally elected. But what is more important was, please, let us ensure that going forward for the next 5 years, let us drive economic growth. Why we must drive economic growth? So that our people can find employment. I have to release with them, show them the scary level of high unemployment in our city. And I said, it is our responsibility as government to create an enabling environment, working with the private sector to ensure that our people are given employment opportunities. And identified the inner city to be a jewel of a great opportunity for us. You know, Johannesburg, as you're aware, in 130 years ago, when we discovered gold, and Johannesburg drove the economy of this country. But now, here's another golden opportunity for Johannesburg to drive the economic growth of this country. This time we don't have gold, but gold has helped us to create this world-class infrastructure that is here, relatively new. But now, look at the housing backlog. We sit in the city with over 300,000 of our people on the housing backlog. And you know the biggest people who don't have houses? People earning between 3,000 and 8,000 rands a month, because South Africans don't qualify to get RDP houses from government. They don't qualify to get bonds from government. We have the private sector that is willing to work with us as government to build high-rise buildings so that our people can live in proper housing and still afford the rentals. Now, we need to reclaim the city back, because unfortunately, one thing that I've discovered is that our city has been hijacked by criminal elements.
Now, talking about that, and I want to quote you because you said illegal immigrants without documentation in Johannesburg were linked to criminal activity. Expand on that and exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, now, I think people tend to want to believe what they want to believe. I've said they help in actually compounding the challenge of crime in our city. Because when you have such big numbers of people, we have 115,000 people in hijacked buildings living in totally deplorable conditions. And every time our law enforcement agencies have to deal with these matters, our students from the universities living alongside all these hijacked buildings, they're being robbed on a daily basis. And law enforcement agencies are finding it difficult to deal with people with no papers, because some of them, even if they get arrested, a day or two later, they're back in the streets because our system is unable to handle this lawlessness. And now I made an appeal to the national government, Home Affairs in particular, to say, please assist us, ensure that people coming into our city are here, coming in legally, and please ask them when they're in our country and in our city, please make sure that they respect the laws of this country. And I'm saying it is your responsibility. And those who do not qualify to be here, please get them out of our city. That's what I'm asking for, to live in a country where there's a rule of law. I don't believe anyone would have a problem with us because we're the only country in the world that is allowing something like this. Show me any other country that would allow you, Elvis, to go into Botswana or Lesotho or anywhere in the world without the paperwork. Don't go through the border. Look at what will happen to you. Any country in the world except South Africa. Now, why must South Africa be allowed to be a country where we harbor criminals?
Now, your detractors would say it almost sounds as if it is like Donald Trump saying that Mexicans and foreigners should be deported out of America. Is that where we're driving to, or do you have a different agenda?
No, I think, for us as South Africans, and I think I said this during the first 100 days of my speech, economic growth, it's linked to international people coming to South Africa, foreigners, people from all over the world. Please come to South Africa. This is a great country of Mandela. Come and share with us. We can share our history. Come and invest in our country. Come and build factories. That's what we want. Come and spend your dollars and your pounds, whatever. Please come to South Africa. But please, come to South Africa legally, firstly. And please, when you're in our country, please respect our laws. If then someone says I'm unfair, then for me, I become very suspicious of the agenda, because anyone who would expect us to tolerate and accept this is someone who wants to plunge South Africa to be a failed state. And I'm calling on South Africans and people of the world to help us protect this country. We cannot afford to be a failed state, because a failed state will be a state that does not respect the rule of law.
What do you say to those that says that the statements or the utterances are xenophobic and it basically drives off the African brothers and sisters that we have on the continent that assisted us during apartheid?
But tell me, any country in the world that would expect us as South Africa to operate without the rule of law, then that is why I'm saying is I'll have very serious problems with that statement. Anyone accusing me of that, because I'm asking people to come to our country unapologetically. Please come to South Africa, but please come into our country legally. And when you're in South Africa, respect our laws. If anyone has got a problem with that, then I have a problem with the agenda being driven to collapse our country to be a failed state. I don't think, honestly, anyone would expect me to apologize, and I'd really regard that everyone anywhere in the world would agree with us. And I think one thing that I also find very strange, I'm talking about illegal people coming into South Africa. Why all of a sudden...
Those with no documentation.
With document. Why then do we say it's only Africans? Because the city of Johannesburg, we're not just sitting with people from Africa. We sit with people from all over the world, from Pakistan, from India, from China, from some Eastern European countries and so forth. Why all of a sudden people just decide to single out Africans to be the only culprits? It is when people have got agendas to drive us along, whatever, racial, religious, and so forth. Here we're talking about illegal foreigners. And Africans are not the only people in the world that must be accused, because it's an unfair statement to accuse Africans for them to be the only ones invading this country illegally.
It's the first 100 days, Mayor. 2017 is lying ahead. It was a tough 2016. What can we expect?
Well, we can expect even a rougher period. State SA just released GDP numbers. This country experienced almost a neutral growth. And I can assure people of this country, please check with any economist, the only day that this country would be in a position to start reversing these high levels of unemployment, that is when this country will start achieving a minimum of 5% growth. For as long as we outperform under 5%, that means unemployment in this country and city is going to get worse, and we're going to be failing our poor people. And South Africa has got the potential. Let us start with Johannesburg. Let us reclaim this inner city for our people. Let us build them houses. We've got the private sector with the balance sheet, with the experience, with the expertise, where tomorrow we can turn this city into a construction site so that in 5 years' time, we can bring down this high levels of housing backlog, that our people can come and live in the city, can work in the city, can play in the city, and it must be the city that is safe. Because what will happen with the construction industry, pumping billions there, immediately our people will find employment opportunities, will give our people the dignity, and they'll have a world-class city to live in, where they have a government that is there to ensure that people living in the city, they respect the rule of law.
A festive message for everybody out there in Johannesburg.
Please, I think I'm appealing to people of Johannesburg. We had a tough 2016. Let us prepare ourselves for 2017. Please go back to your families. Reflect on 2016 and the past. But please, let us start preparing for 2017 and beyond, because the future is what we can determine. All of us, with our families, let us build families, because one thing that we can be assured of, if we're not going to bring strong families, we're not going to make it as a society. Christmas is that time for us to reflect and be with our families, but let us reflect on the future.
Mulusi Gigaba, the Minister of Home Affairs, said his office plans to collaborate with Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba following a meeting that Home Affairs called with the mayor after Mashaba made comments around illegal immigrants in Johannesburg, which were denounced as being xenophobic. Now, Amnesty International researcher for South Africa, Shireen Mukadam, had this to say.
Since 2008, Amnesty International has monitored long-standing patterns of discriminatory attitudes and practices towards refugees, migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa, either by the general public, some government departments and the police services. This discrimination has continued with impunity. It is in this context that Amnesty International believes that the comments made by the Honourable Mayor Herman Mashaba are discriminatory and inflammatory. They're also dangerous and divisive because these comments are not based on any empirical evidence. Instead, the claims are based on prejudice against refugees, migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa. The statements also undermine human rights enshrined in the Bill of Rights of our Constitution, which affirms the protection of the human rights of all people in South Africa.
We see the rise around the world of anti-immigration sentiments. We see Brexit. We see Donald Trump being elected in the US. Is this the new normal against migrant workers and refugees around the world? And should we really push to stamp that out of South Africa?
You're right. What we're seeing is a pattern of a more security risk-based approach towards migrants around the world and also in South Africa. And what Amnesty International is promoting is a more human rights-based approach to protect the rights of refugees, migrants and asylum seekers. The
next steps with regards to Mr. Herman Mashaba, the new mayor in Johannesburg, what would you like to see? The ANC stepped in. They say that a case is going to be brought forward, and we've seen discussions in a meeting now with the Home Affairs Minister. Is that enough? What would you like to see happening going forward?
Amnesty International is calling for authorities to counter stereotypical comments, to eradicate discrimination, and also to foster greater equality and social cohesion. We are also calling for authorities to counter stereotypical comments like this and to make it clear that discrimination and violence against refugees, migrants and asylum seekers will not be tolerated in South Africa.
Will we see you take this case to the Human Rights Commission?
Amnesty International itself, as you know, is an international human rights organization. So what we will be doing is to speak directly with the Mayor, Herman Mashaba, and then to take the situation from there.
Is he open to meeting with you?
Yes, he is.
The latest comments has caused consternation because there's a lot of context before this, and we know what happened in South Africa. As a new mayor, do you think there's much more of a responsibility on you to make sure that you don't make this type of divisive comments?
Certainly. As public officials in South Africa, public officials have a responsibility and a duty to uphold the values of the Constitution following the xenophobic violence that took place in Durban last year between March and May 2015. A government-led inquiry, which was chaired by former United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Judge Navi Pillay, found that the atmosphere of fear was compounded by inflammatory public statements made by individuals in leadership positions. The inquiry also recommended that leaders exercise greater care when making public statements, and the inquiry recommended that leaders exercise caution when making comments and consider the potential ramifications, both intended and unintended, of any comments that may be based on stereotypes or prejudice and that may be perceived as harmful to any group of individuals.
Here in South Africa, are we doing enough to ensure the ongoing safety of visitors, both documented and undocumented here in this country?
I'm glad you referred to undocumented immigrants in South Africa, because I don't think we are doing enough. South Africa has a long way to go in terms of educating the public about the rights of refugees, migrants and asylum seekers.
Are we becoming more and more intolerant as a society? You at Amnesty International, you have a unique view in a way as to what's happening in South Africa. Are we in danger, shall I say that? Are we in danger of becoming more intolerant? And is it a socio-economic thing or is it a cultural thing?
I think given the comments by the mayor, I think that is a clear indication that we are an intolerant society. And that is especially why Amnesty International is really calling on authorities to counter such inflammatory remarks and to take action to foster greater equality and social cohesion in communities in South Africa.
We've now seen the meeting between the mayor, that's Melissa Gigaba, and Mr. Mashaba, and they've now going to work together. What is your hopes for this kind of meeting, and do you think that going forward there's merit in this kind of thing?
We believe that there is merit in discussion and debate in society, and we believe that the authorities must work together to ensure that the values in our Constitution are upheld. Section 9 of the Constitution guarantees the right of everyone not to be discriminated against on any grounds, and Amnesty International is calling for the Constitution to be held as the primary guiding light.
In this specific case, what would be a positive outcome for you?
I think a positive outcome would be for Mayor Herman Mashaba to reflect on his comments made and to reflect on the potential ramifications, even if they were unintended, given the sensitive context in South Africa. And also another positive outcome would be to have a very strong education campaign looking at the rights of refugees, migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa.
African Union Commission Chairperson Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma will address her first and only State of the Continent media briefing in Durban a month before her 4-year term ends. Now, it will be the first address of its kind in recent African Union history. It is not known why KwaZulu-Natal was chosen as the venue. The AU headquarters are in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Dlamini-Zuma's tenure as AU Commission Chairwoman ended in July, but was extended to January when a new chairperson is set to be voted in. Now, getting that dreaded phone call that your house has been burgled is enough to ruin your holiday and blow your January budget. As the holiday season is peaking, it's open season for criminals. But SABC reporter Chriselle Deleuze looks at the crime spikes during the festive period and accompanied a response team on the beat.
With the festive season in full swing and holidaymakers enjoying a well-deserved break, whether it be at the beach or with family members, Criminals are also on the prowl to see where they can pounce next. With countless homes unoccupied, burglars are likely to have a field day, making it one of the busiest times for private security companies, a 50 billion rand industry in South Africa. We accompanied a response team. Moments after we began our journey,
This is 0101 Charlie.
a panic signal received. When we arrive, more backup is brought in and a search ensues.
Kusha. See, like this one, it's a false panic. Everything is fine there. We checked right round. There's no one. So I'm ready for anything. This is here. I'm giving backup, Charlie, from Wyoming, Kobe.
Moments later, a burglary alarm dispatch call.
Let us check around, just guys.
The team insists on searching the premises despite being informed that it was a false alarm. The security company servicing most of Johannesburg's north's plush suburbs says the first few days of the festive period don't bode well.
This year, the first week of December, we had already 15 armed robberies. In our areas, yes, definitely there's a hike of about 5%, and 5% is a lot. But it shows you these guys, they do not care. They will take your life. They won't hesitate to kill you.
Spiraling crime has led to more sophisticated technology, improving response times.
Right. If you've got a panic situation, you simply press the panic. You'll see that it's got 3 buttons. The moment that you press your 3 buttons, the signal goes through to the control room, and immediately your GPS coordinates also comes through on the screen. So they can, and there you hear it going through to the medical vehicle, so they immediately can see where you are, they can immediately start locating you. If somebody, for instance, hijacks you and puts you in the boot, the moment that that signal went through, we will be able to start following it.
And it's not too expensive, at a little under 100 rand. From high tech to common sense, this is how you can keep your home safer. Those selfies on the beach on social media are a dead giveaway. Get someone to stay in your home while you are away. Do not leave ladders or tools outside, as they can be used to break into your home. Do not let newspapers pile up at your gate. Schedule your lights at night. And check your chimney. It's not just Father Christmas who wants to gain entry. So be streetwise and take extra precaution and don't become another statistic. Criselda Lewis, SABC News in Johannesburg.
Information-hungry viewers stay with SABC News, as issues on the West are different from issues on the East or here in Johannesburg. So it is not surprising that people who follow the news know that there are 2 things for sure: that anything can happen, and SABC News will tell you when it does. Because we keep the nation fully informed. We are SABC News.
welcome back. This is Newsroom. Now, it is the season to give. Now, some people love to give gifts. Homemade is hearty and luxuries make the eyes sparkle. While some people give the gift of time by volunteering, others offer something a little more personal, such as donating blood. But if you feel that you want to make a huge difference in someone's life, then listen up, this is for you. South Africa is in desperate need of bone marrow donations, something which is not everyone is willing to donate. But to tell us more about this, we are joined from our Sea Point studios by Charlotte Ingram from the Bone Marrow Registry of South Africa, as well as a former patient who received a donation, Sarah Norman. A very warm welcome to the both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Charlotte, if I can just start with you. Now, this is a topic that not a lot of people speak about, and it seems that we are in desperate need of donations. But for those who don't know, can you explain what bone marrow is and why it plays such an important part in treatments?
So perhaps we should just start with the fact that the bone marrow is actually the factory for the blood, and we all know you can't survive without healthy blood. You need white cells for infection, you need red cells to carry oxygen in the form of hemoglobin to tissues in your body, and platelets so that you don't bleed. And the bone marrow stem cells are the actual cells that will make this, the blood components for the person. If they become damaged in any way, such as malignant cells that take over the bone marrow, as we see some with the leukemias and other blood diseases, they have to be replaced. But first, the malignant cells have to be killed, and once the malignant cells have been killed, they now have no cells to make the blood components, and so they are completely reliant at that point on a bone marrow transplant.
Now, tell us about some of the figures. They seem to be quite alarming. How many patients do we currently have on a waiting list?
So we do have quite a number of searches going on, probably about at least 200. And what we can do is we don't just have to look in South Africa. The Bone Marrow Registry is linked to other registries worldwide. And while South Africa unfortunately only has 74,000 of our own donors, worldwide we have 28 million. But the problem is they have to match, and about 30% of people will find a match within their own family, and those are the easier ones. But once you haven't got a match in your own family, because certain of your HLA types or your tissue types that need to match are inherited along, more likely to be inherited from a family member along the same lines. As certain features, for example, we know mixed ethnic groups, those features that they have may well be similar to the HLA typing, and it's just a matter of the frequency of the genes of matching that we look at, and there's more chance of finding it within your own ethnic group, and that is where we often have difficulty, is finding a match perhaps for somebody of mixed descent, whereas there are a lot of Caucasian donors available worldwide.
Sarah, if I can bring you into this conversation, you received a donation about 11 years ago, and according to the statistics, you're one in 1,000 of receiving such a donation. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yes, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in November 2004. And I had ongoing chemotherapy treatment and radiation leading up to my bone marrow transplant. I was very privileged and blessed that they found a donor for me, unfortunately not on the local South African register, but on the international register. I was very fortunate to be transplanted in July 2005.
Tell us about some of the challenges that you faced with your journey.
I think the biggest challenge for me was you're so incapacitated. I spent 90% of that time in bone marrow transplant unit in Constantiaberg, of which it was in isolation, which meant that
my family members had to scrub up to come in and visit me. I was only allowed 6 visitors a day. And my children, who were 4 and 6 at the time, weren't allowed to visit me at all because of germs. So we had to communicate through, walkie-talkie and cell phone through a window. The challenges, obviously, as well, with the intense chemotherapy I had and the radiation closer to the time of having the transplant was very debilitating. I had a lot of organ failure. I saw every kind of ologist that exists, from gastroenterologists to pulmonologists to cardiologists, lungs, heart, everything sort of shut down. But I managed to pull through. Through strong belief systems and fantastic support system, I managed to get through to the point where I was strong enough to receive the transplant in 2005 in July.
Now, I'm sure there are many other people who are going through maybe a similar experience that you did. And when you first found out that you would be receiving or you would need a donation, were you hopeful?
I was always very positive that I would be helped out there. I never felt that it was obviously very scary at the time, not knowing whether there was a match for me. I knew I didn't have a family match. So yes, it was very nerve-wracking for a period of time, but I never gave up believing that what was meant to be would be, and that if I just remained positive and took it one step at a time, lived each day for what it was, and tried to survive each day as I was being pumped with serious drugs, that it was one step at a time. I would pull through.
Charlotte, if I can come back to you. We've had a look at these figures. They seem quite alarming. There's a 1 in 1,000 chance of receiving a donation according to the figures that are available. Why is this?
I think it is because you've only got about a 1 in 100,000 chance of finding a match outside of your family. And so we have so few donors in South Africa on the registry. We definitely need more donors. South Africa also has a very mixed genetic diversity, and we find that the phenotypes of our donors are actually 3rd in the world for being different and being very, very special, and difficult to find. So very difficult to find them. Like I said, it's about a 1 in 100,000 chance. So we would definitely like to have more donors available, and we really need more donors.
Now, what criteria do prospective donors need to have?
Well, first of all, they must be healthy and between the ages of 18 and 45, because the younger donors actually seem to do better in donating, and also the transplant seems to work better with the younger donors. But you can still donate stem cells up to an age of about 65. But we don't put donors on the registry that are over 45. We keep it there. And then there are other criteria around, if they've got autoimmune disease or any disease like that. But those criteria are available both on our website, which is the www.sabmr.co.za, and the Sunflower, www.sunflowerfund.org.za. And I think they are showing you the toll-free number you can call as well to actually make contact, and where people will help you and explain whether you are meeting the criteria to be one of the donors. And we really need donors. We've just written a book called The Uncommon Gift, and it is exactly that. It's a very uncommon gift, and there are people there that need that gift. So in the time of giving, I would really, really like to ask people to consider becoming a bone marrow donor if you meet the criteria that are necessary. The other thing to think about as well is the funding. The testing is incredibly expensive. It's a minimum of 2,000 Rand to do the HLA typing, and the pricing will go up with time. And may go up this year again as well. We anticipate it may. So if we have any funding that is donated towards Sunflower Fund or to the Bone Marrow Registry to to maintain the register, this is always appreciated as well.
Now, for those who are watching and are considering becoming a donor, can you just talk us through the process of becoming a donor and the procedure that they'll have to go through from beginning to end?
So it's very similar to donating platelets. Previously, as we all know, we always sort of think of bone marrow and people having to drill into bone to get the marrow out. That doesn't happen anymore. You do need to go and register as a donor. You need to give 2 samples of blood to have your HLA typing done so that we can then put you onto the register to know what your tissue type is, to see if you can be a match for someone. So once you've done that, you will then be on the register. If you happen to be a match, we will call you back to reconfirm and do more extensive tissue typing to make sure that we are absolutely sure you are a right match. Because if you're not, the patient may reject those cells and they won't go and grow, go and settle in the bone marrow again. And they won't make the components of blood. So it's got to be a perfect match. Once we're happy with that, we will contact you. It's usually, we always say to people, please keep 2 days, because it takes about 4 to 6 hours per collection. You're connected via a vein to a machine that's like a separating machine. It keeps the stem cells, but gives you back all the other blood cells. And then it comes back into you, the other blood, via another needle into a vein. Sometimes we will use a bigger vein, but usually we can do it through peripheral veins.
Well, thank you very much.
And as I say, it's...
Yes. Unfortunately,
and if we don't collect enough on the first day... Okay, no, that's super.
But thank you very much for joining us, of course, to you, Charlotte, and to Sarah for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There you go. If you're feeling brave and you want to do something very good this December over the festive season, there you go. You can become a bone marrow donor. Well, it's time now to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
South Africa remains in the grip of a dry spell. It's led to water restrictions imposed across the country. About 20,000 cubic centimeters are being released per second. Authorities say that it could take 10 days. In the meantime, they're appealing to residents to use water sparingly. Transnet says that it's increased its revenue despite the weak economic conditions affecting volumes that it handled.
The company says going forward it will be investing in mergers and acquisition opportunities to expand Transnet services. It says while it does not believe South Africa will be downgraded, it has however begun negotiations with lenders to prepare for any eventualities.
Welcome back. Now, it's that time of the year when we look back at the year that was. And 2016 was characterized by various highs and lows. And in the world of sport, it was really no different. Let's take a quick look at the year's most exciting moments in the sports of tennis and golf.
World number 1 Novak Djokovic of Serbia enjoyed a cracking start to the year. He beat Briton Andy Murray in straight sets in the final of the year's first Grand Slam, the Australian Open in Melbourne. He defeated Murray again in the final of the French Open in Paris in June after 3 failed attempts at Roland Garros. With the win, Djokovic became the first man in 47 years to hold all 4 Grand Slam titles at the same time. But 2 months later, Djokovic, citing personal problems, spectacularly lost to American Sam Querrey in the 3rd round at Wimbledon. Murray then defeated Canadian Milos Raonic in the final to clinch his 2nd title at the All England club. Djokovic made it to the US Open final in New York, but was beaten in 4 sets by Switzerland's number 1 Stanislas Wawrinka. Murray, however, sealed the year-end top ranking when he beat an out-of-sorts Djokovic in the final of the ATP World Tour Finals in London, the first British man ever to achieve this feat. On the women's tour, Angelique Kerber caused a huge upset when she beat Serena Williams in the Australian Open final, her first ever Grand Slam title. Spain's promising young player Garbiñe Muguruza was then the surprise singles winner in Paris, beating Williams in the French Open final. But Williams finally bagged her 7th singles title at Wimbledon. She beat Kerber in the final and equaled Steffi Graf's professional era record of 22 Grand Slam singles titles. The German, however, made it 2 from 3 when she clinched the US Open title in September. She also took over the world #1 ranking after beating Czech Karolina Pliskova in New York. In golf, Danny Willett won his first major title at the US Masters at Augusta National in Georgia in April. This after runaway overnight leader Jordan Spieth spectacularly crumbled during the final round. Willett finished on 5 under par overall, 3 strokes clear of Spieth and England's Lee Westwood. In June, American Dustin Johnson won the US Open in Pennsylvania. He carded a final round 68 to finish at 5 under par, but he was penalized for making his ball move on the 5th green, despite being initially cleared of any wrongdoing. Although his score was changed to 4 under, he still finished 3 strokes clear of Irishman Shane Lowry and the American duo of Jim Furyk and Scott Piercy. Swede Henrik Stenson won the British Open at St Andrews in July, the first Scandinavian man to win a major. Stenson finished on 20 under par 264, 3 ahead of American Phil Mickelson. Stenson's final round 8 under par equaled the lowest in any major championship, his winning total a new British Open record. He also ended the year as the winner of the season-long Race to Dubai Challenge. American Jimmy Walker clinched his maiden major title in July. He won the weather-interrupted PGA Championship in Springfield, New Jersey, posting a total of 14 under par. The USA beat Europe in the Ryder Cup at Hazeltine in October. The Americans recorded a 17-11 victory, ending Europe's dominance following 3 consecutive wins. Locally, Swede Alex Noren finished on 14 under par to claim victory at the Nedbank Challenge at Sun City. And South Africa's Brandon Stone won the Alfred Dunhill Championship in Malalaan by 7 strokes, an event of the 2016-17 European Tour season. Liesel Zankel, SABC News.
And so it is that a relieved Australia captured Pakistan's last 2 wickets to win a captivating first-day night test in Brisbane by 39 runs this morning. Chasing a test record 490 runs for victory, Pakistan had resumed the 5th and final day on 382 for 8 and won huge admiration for their 4th innings resistance. Fast bowler Mitchell Starc ended a stubborn 71-run 9th wicket partnership between Asad Shafiq and Yasir Shah.
He looks a bit nervous now, Steve Smith.
Australia appeared bemused to even be competing on day 5, and it manifested itself in Smith's conservative field settings.
Flipped up and over the infield.
Growing in confidence, Yasir whipped paceman Jackson Bird off for 4 at the square leg boundary to bring up their 50-run partnership with Shafiq. Yasir then survived a missed stumping, a dropped catch, and overturned an LBW decision before Starc timed his intervention to perfection at the other end with a searing delivery, bringing to an end Shafiq's heroic knock of 137.
That might be the match winner. It needed something special at searing pace, alarming bounce, and a man batting on 137 couldn't cope.
Moments later, Yasir was run out by Smith's direct hit for 33, having failed to ground his bat after an aborted single as Pakistan were eventually dismissed for 450.
He thinks he's won the test match. I gotta say, I think he's won the test match too.
The relief was palpable when Australia finally sealed a victory that looked a formality a day earlier. Shafiq was named man of the match following his 9th Test century, the most ever for a number 6 batsman. Australia are leading 1-0 in the 3-match series. Pakistan, however, will head to the second match in Melbourne on the 26th with renewed confidence. Mtutuzi Ndlovu, SABC News.
Now, of course, over the weekend, there was a whole host of football matches being played across the world. And not most of them right here. Here's a quick summary of the results from just the weekend's action. From Friday all the way to Sunday, City and SuperSport United, a 1-1 draw. You know about that one. Saturday, Platinum Stars 0-0 with Maritzburg United. 2-0 win for Chipa against Highlands. Bloem Celtic losing 3-0 to Ajax at home. Bidvest getting closer to the top of the log. 3-1 they beat Free State Stars. Kaizer Chiefs a win finally. Steve Compella under a lot of duress over the last few weeks. He does well. 3-2 win against Polokwane City. Baroka FC 1-0 draw against Golden Arrows, which brings us to the log stands. We look at the top 8 of the log standings. Very interesting movements. As you can see, lots of ups and downs. Cape Town City are still 1 point clear. Wits have moved that much closer to them with that win that they eked out yesterday. SuperSport United moving downwards. Kaizer Chiefs in 4th position on 21 points. Also on 21 points, you'll see Polokwane City, who just lost to Kaizer Chiefs 3-2. Golden Arrows moving downwards. Go through to the second half of the log, the bottom half of the log. In the bottom half of the log, you see there's been movement there as well. Quite a lot of movements between 9 and 16. Most of them happening between position 11 and 16. Highlands Park and Free State Stars at the bottom there. They've moved downwards, and you'll see that Ajax has moved upwards on 15 points. Platinum and Bloem Celtic on 13 and 12 respectively. Baroka going upwards out of the relegation zone into 14th position on 12 points. Now, Manchester City came from behind to beat Arsenal 2-1 and moved above them into second place in the Barclays Premier League. Theo Walcott fired Arsenal ahead from an Alexis Sanchez through ball. Leroy Sané equalised 2 minutes after that restart. Now, City's winner came through Raheem Sterling. Let's take a quick look at the goals from that match.
Sanchez. Lovely ball. Walcott! A 5th-minute lead for Arsenal. Here's Walcott. Sanchez looking for space in the middle. Sanchez now has the ball, but no space. Iwobi. And Bellerin.
But Manchester City, it's up to them. Home side, raise it, respond.
Silva. And Sané! De Bruyne. Sterling. That was Xhaka.
Yeah, you could see Monreal with his arms behind his back.
De Bruyne deflected, saved. De Bruyne. Glorious cross-field effort. Sterling. This stretches Arsenal. Forces gathering in the middle. Sterling! Never mind the forces in the middle.
Lots of our hearts were roused by that performance by Manchester City. Now, former world champion Bernard Hopkins' long and illustrious career ended in a brutal defeat when the 51-year-old light heavyweight was knocked out of the ring in the 8th round of his final fight in Los Angeles on Saturday. Let's have a look. A month short of his 52nd birthday, Hopkins lost by a technical knockout to fellow American Joe Smith Jr. at the iconic Forum when he failed to return to the ring within 20 seconds of being punched through the ropes. Hopkins had not fought since a crushing loss to Russian Sergei Kovalev 2 years ago. His first ever defeat inside the distance looked increasingly likely as the bout progressed against a man ranked 2nd by the WBC.
He landed on his head.
Hopkins appeared to land on his head but remained conscious and was helped to his feet but could not make his way back into the ring within the 20-second time limit. Hopkins heads into retirement with a 55-8-2-2 professional record. It includes 32 knockouts and registered a record 20 defenses of his world middleweight title from 1995 to 2005. Smith improved to 22-1 after successfully defending his WBC international title for the first time.
According to the report, some people believe that all healthcare and education will be better for the next generation.
Young people want a good life, should stay in their countries rather than emigrate.
Kenya is the world's leading exporter of black tea, but oversupply and variable weather conditions often lead to global price fluctuations.
Tea factories now need 20 hectares for specialty tea products to be licensed.
The South African cricket team has clinched a 2-0 Test series win over Australia on the 4th day of the second Test in Hobart. Now the Proteas recorded an emphatic victory, winning by an innings and 80 runs with more than a day to spare.
Stay tuned to News Today from 3 to 5:30 p.m. here on SABC News.
Whether you're looking for a restaurant, public transport or a university, a lot of us use our smartphone apps to find the closest one. On Network, we chat to those who play a role in Africa's tech space.
We have taken financial services closer to the people. Yeah, mobile penetration is pretty high.
Apple take 30%, keep 70%.
On Network, we give you Africa's social media and technology news. That's Network with Ms. Phumelele Zondi every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
This is SABC News Prime Time, live from Johannesburg. Police have made a massive drugs bust in Khayelitsha on the Cape Flats. They seized Mandrax tablets worth 26 million rand. The 529,000 Mandrax tablets seized were hidden in an underground storage facility. A scavenging insect which has destroyed tomato fields abroad has been spotted locally. Several organizations are working together to fend off this potential catastrophe. In 2008, it jumped the Mediterranean from Spain and caused havoc in 15 African countries.
It's 1100 hours Central African time. It's the final hour here on Newsroom on this Monday, the 19th of December 2016. My name is Elvis Preslin.
I'm Renee Vest.
And I'm Kendall Makhamate.
And we'll be with you until 12 o'clock. Now, Renee, very interesting topic that we're raising today in terms of what's currently happening, right?
So there's been another racist incident, of course, Elvis, surrounding the beaches. Everybody's flocking to the beaches, and the racist comments just seem to be surfacing. So we've been asking you this question today. What is your reaction to the latest racist outburst? Should we call it an outburst?
Yeah, it's an outburst really on social media, and people are using that as an outlet, so to speak. But Kendall, we're also doing a poll today almost similar to that.
100%, and it's very much about something that's been initiated out in on the west coast. Is it
Saldanha Bay?
Saldanha
Yes.
Bay, and it says, should a beach pass be allowed in today's South Africa? Very interesting story behind that.
Now you can see a lot of people on holiday because so far we only got 130 votes, but 66% of those are saying no, and 34% are saying yes. But we got a couple of tweets coming in and people responding to this particular question. Let's see what they've got to say.
Good. Malefetsane Mofokeng reckons if it's privately owned beach, then the pass law is right way to know who's who on your property. But if not, then that is a problem.
Well, Malefetsani's got his own thoughts around that. Bantu says.
Bantu.
But who forced them to buy the property at a natural site that belongs to everyone? Racists must just go and jump off a cliff. Sis, says Bantu.
Matibela says, no, they can't reserve some places because we are all equal.
Well, there you have it. These are some of the comments. There's another one from Candace, Kendall.
And she says, never ever shall we stoop so low. Who told them to buy properties along the beach anyway? Yeah.
Well, there you go. These are some of your comments. You can keep them coming. We'll read them as we continue today. But first, let's take a look at your news headlines with Renee.
African Union Commission Chairperson Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma will address her first and only State of the Continent media briefing in Durban, a month before her 4-year term ends.
Migrant community leaders and civil society organizations are to stage a protest outside Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba's office today.
And police have arrested more than 3,000 motorists since the 1st of December as traffic authorities clamp down on drunken driving, speeding and reckless road behavior.
Now, those are some of your headlines. But before we get to the news, let's find out from Kendall Makamate what's happening on the sports front. Kendall?
Quite a lot happening on the sports front. It's a beautiful Monday morning. We just had a cracker of a weekend. Lots of soccer, lots of cricket, lots of action on the sports field, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, now, so let's bring you up to speed with what it is that we're bringing to you in the sports bulletins today. Good morning to you.
With the ball into that box here now. Heavy touch from Katsande, but still going. Still Katsande! Still Katsande!
Kaizer Chiefs bring some early Christmas joy to Naturena as they finally eke out a league win after 7 times of trying.
Surely now, Chiefs have the points.
De Bruyne.
A sterling effort by Raheem sees Manchester City turn back the clock as they come from behind to beat Arsenal 2-1 at the Etihad.
Sterling! Never mind the forces in the middle. He's a one-man wrecking force. Arsenal have lost their lead. Parity's gone as well. City in a position to win from behind in the Premier League for the first time in 4 years.
Oh, that was the ball. That was the ball. That's out. That could be it. Steve Smith could have done it. He thinks he's won the test match.
Pakistan staged an exciting run chase but fall 40 short as Steve Smith snuffs out their tremendous effort with a run out. Okay, all this and more in detail I'll be bringing to you at 11:35, but for now it is back to Renee who's got the news.
Thank you, Kendall. African Union Commission Chairperson Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma will address her first and only State of the Continent media briefing in Durban today, a month before her 4-year term ends. Now, it will be the first address of its kind in recent African Union history. It is not known why KwaZulu-Natal was chosen as the venue, as the AU headquarters are in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Dlamini-Zuma's tenure as AU Commission Chairwoman ended in July, but was extended to January when a new chairperson is set to be voted in. In other news, migrant community leaders and civil society organizations are to stage a protest outside Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba's offices today against what they call his reckless comments about illegal immigrants. Mashaba sparked an outcry recently when he stated in his 100 days in office address that illegal foreign nationals living in Johannesburg must be treated as criminals since they had come to South Africa illegally and that they should leave the city. Mashaba says he wants the help of national government to deal with this problem. Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba says they're willing to partner with Mashaba to curb the flow of illegal migrants to the city. Traffic authorities are planning a clampdown on road traffic violations over the Christmas long weekend in an effort to reduce crashes, injuries and fatalities. Motorists have been urged to exercise caution, be aware of pedestrians and respect the rules of the road. More than 3,000 motorists have been arrested since December the 1st on charges of drunken driving, speeding and reckless road behaviour. To deal with the challenge, the Mpumalanga government has set up roadblocks on all major roads linking it with other provinces. Last night, an SABC News crew spent the night on the N2 towards KwaZulu-Natal.
This is the N2 highway between Emelo and Piet Retief. It is one of the busiest roads in Mpumalanga as it leads to KwaZulu-Natal. Traffic volumes from Thursday until Sunday have increased due to the holiday season. But no car passes this roadblock without going through a thorough check.
We stop the vehicles, we check all the defects that we pick up on the vehicle. We check the tires, we check the status of the drivers, We check also the status of the motor vehicle that are still roadworthy. So if so ever we pick up any offences, we then issue the fine there.
Motorists have welcomed the roadblock.
A very good thing now in Christmas, good for the roads, safety.
This is a good thing for our safety. Now we travel knowing we are safe. We appreciate it.
Also lending a hand is the South African Defence Force as well as the South African Police Service. The roadblock is operated 24 hours a day. With close to 1 million traffic offenders nabbed here, some paying their fines, officials say they will be here until next January. Sibongile Mkanimpolweni, SABC News, between Ermelo and Piet Retief in Mpumalanga.
In a bid to support initiatives that are aimed at curbing road crashes on South Africa's road, Imperial Road Safety Program will be joining forces with the Bakwena N1 N4 toll road. Now, this project aims to drive road safety awareness and additional patrol support on this route during the festive season. For more on this, we joined here in studio by Liam Clark. He's the Commercial Director from Bakwena N1 N4 toll road. A very good morning to you, Liam, and welcome.
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, tell us more about the road safety campaign and how you're trying to roll that out.
Well, we, along with Imperial and Europcar, have in actual fact done initiatives over the last couple of holiday seasons by getting additional vehicles which we've made available to the various traffic authorities, Tshwane Traffic, Limpopo Traffic, Northwest Traffic, and our own patrols that we have on the N1, N4 highway, 384 kilometres of highway going towards Limpopo and through Northwest up to Botswana border. And we've got additional 6 vehicles for the next month.
What are the aim of the vehicles on the road? What are they supposed to do?
I think the aim of the vehicles on the road is basically to have a presence and to be able to assist motorists who may get into some sort of problem or difficulty. And it's a proven fact that high visibility does in actual fact improve the attitude of drivers on the road and they start to use a little bit of common sense and drive properly.
Now, you said that you had these particular campaigns over the last couple of seasons. How successful has it been?
Well, for example, at the Easter campaign that we had over this year in 2016, there were 0 fatalities from Easter Thursday through till Easter Monday. And I think that countrywide there was actually an increase of, I think, 17% in fatalities over the same period.
That sounds very good. How are you doing this as Bakwena N1 N4? Is there a special thing that you are doing that other routes are not doing?
Well, I think the road, in actual fact, has got a very high best practice of maintenance and roadworthiness, if I can call it roadworthiness. And the highway never has any potholes in it. The road markings are always up to the best spec. And as I say, we do have, in actual fact, regular patrols along the highway of ourselves, together with the traffic authorities, which does make that road much safer than other roads within the country.
But it also boils down to awareness and education of motorists, isn't it? What are you doing to promote that?
I think on that side, we have got various campaigns going throughout along the route, particularly in the schools, where we do road safety campaigns in the schools. We support...
A number of schools that you support.
We support schools with pedestrian crossing patrols. Yes. We support the schools by assisting with teaching them about road safety. And yeah.
Now, the festive season is here. What should travellers and motorists be on the lookout for, and what should they avoid not doing on the road?
I think the best thing that they can do, in actual fact, is to plan their trip. Especially long trips. Take rests every 200 kilometres or every couple of hours. Certainly have rest before they go. Don't drink and drive. And don't text or talk on your cell phone. Allow the passengers to do that for you, because that distracts you from the road, and you're not using your common sense and being attentive to what's actually happening on the road.
Now, we spoke earlier to the traffic authorities, and they're saying one of the major concerns and problems that they find is that pedestrians are a major problem. Is that what you find on Bakwena?
There are areas along our route where pedestrians are challenges. We have, in actual fact, built pedestrian bridges to get them across the highways. They don't necessarily use them. Again, they need to use their common sense. You also get pedestrians who are drunk and don't know where they are and make silly decisions in trying to cross highways. And we do what we can to try and, in actual fact, encourage them to use the facilities that are along the side of the highway or to get across the highway either at bridges or underpasses, especially in the busy urban areas.
So what you're saying is that you build additional pedestrian bridges for them to cross over the road?
Those bridges were built, the bridges that we have, for example, out in Bapong were built 10 years ago. And we've put up various pedestrian fences to try and encourage the pedestrians to use the facilities that are there. But it's a challenge. Why would people break a hole in the wall to go across the highway when they can walk maybe an extra 200 meters to get to an underpass?
For pedestrians, I think it's very important that they need to be visible. So what sort of advice would you give to them?
Well, for pedestrians to be visible, I think they should certainly, if they're walking at night, they should be wearing reflective, bright clothes and also be attentive, face oncoming traffic, do the basics of what we were taught when we were at primary school. Look left, look right, look left again to make sure that there are no vehicles coming. If you do have to cross the road, particularly out in the rural areas where there may be less traffic, but it's liable to be travelling faster, and people need to be even more attentive as pedestrians.
And don't drink and walk, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Liam, I thank you so much for your time and joining us here in
Thank
studio.
you, sir.
That was Liam Shark. Liam Clark is the commercial director from the Bokwena N1 N4 toll road.
Of South Africa's celebrities were battling it out for 40 grand at the 5th annual Celebrity Cook-Off in Witbank.
We look forward to welcoming everybody to Emlahleni because this is the place of coal.
For a starter, I'll give you guys 45 minutes to prepare, and the main course will be 1 hour 30 minutes.
The team name is Iliqua Stars, the clever choices.
Yes! Manora Pizza.
3 Michelin stars.
Yes!
Like at least 2. Drum roll. Swami and the defending champions are the Michelin stars.
That's Trends Travel every Sunday, 12 to 1 p.m. on SABC News.
The Deputy Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, recently attended the Open Government Forum in Paris, in France. Now, the aim of the gathering was to find ways of ensuring transparency in government processes, including procurement, through the use of technology. The forum is a multilateral initiative established in 2011 with only 8 member states, including South Africa. The number has now grown to 70 this year. How then will the South African government use technology to ensure transparency to the general public? Now, to discuss this, we joined in studio by the Deputy Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize. A very good morning to you, ma'am, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for making time for us this morning and joining us here. I know it's close to the festive season, or in fact, we're in the festive season already. We're making time. Why did South Africa sign up to be part and parcel of the Open Government Forum?
I think at the time, the President of the Republic of South Africa felt it's important for South Africa to go all the way. Remember, in terms of our constitution and the whole institutional framework of democratic processes, we are open, we are accountable, we believe in partnership, including with the National Development Plan. So I think when this initiative was brought forward, the president felt it's important for South Africa just to come forward and align itself with other open governments.
Now, a very pertinent point that came out of this is that South Africa will now use technology to ensure transparency to the public, especially when it comes to procurement. Talk to us about that. Why is that important?
Well, different countries, they look really at different aspects of government and then choose what they think is critical. I think procurement seems to be something which is of concern to many citizens. Hence, a country will say, we'll have a national plan of action and look at the issue of procurement. It's really about how people benefit from government economically. It's how people participate, not only as consumers of service delivery, but as actually the drivers of service delivery. And I think in our context, it's really of interest. We also, as a department, we oversee a SITA, State Information Technology Agency. And one of its functions is to assist government department when it comes to procurement of technology. And we're talking billions. And it's one area which, if we can do well in having data throughout all spheres of government, including the local and in local languages, and assist people to understand what takes place before they see an equipment in a local hospital in a rural area. That will really open government up even to the most remote rural areas. So that's one area, I felt it's important for us to look at, and especially for our youth, for our rural areas, and for women who sometimes don't even know where to start. Mm-hmm. When you say, were you aware that there was a tender, people had to submit their applications, and people will say, I didn't even know where to send it. Mm-hmm. But through the use of technology, we can open up this important aspect of government.
Mm-hmm. Does that relate then to an open tender system to curb the rise in the notion of tenderpreneurs in the country?
Yeah. Yes, we have to be clear when we say it was open, because sometimes we'll say that. And if I'm in the rural areas of the Ciskei, there was nothing at a local level, the data at a local level, which helped me to understand what are requirements, what did I have to do by when, in my own language. So I'm sitting in Cape Town or Pretoria, I would say, oh, it was an open tender process. And where I was, to me, it was hidden. Mm-hmm. It was not open. The Philippines, we had numerous ministerial platforms. I liked what they said. They are more or less like us, developed and having challenges. They were talking about how data, which we often see as something which must sit at the CSIR, be understood by State South Africa and few senior government officials. For them, data centers are almost like, as they were explaining, I was saying, it's like our zones everywhere next to municipalities. Every citizen understand what is a data that is coming out of e-government, e-health, what are trends, patterns. So, if you democratize something like stats and data and information, I think the government would have gone far enough for people to have that trust and confidence that it's not only being led, but we work in partnership with our government. We are the drivers of the transformation.
When technology is open, it could be open to abuse as well. And one of the discussion points was the abuse of data by the media. What does that really mean?
Yeah, there was that issue. I also participated in that sometimes, the headlines, they don't talk to the reality. There are choices that people make, what they make a headline. And so it can be dangerous if that is done when it's critical information about citizens. Imagine the headline saying, oh, people at region or district X are all dying. They stab each other, so...
What were some of the major points that came out of this summit?
It really is to say all countries who are member state, they have to have national plan of action. So it's to allow, you know, almost like active citizenry in identifying priority areas. We have spoken a lot about procurement, but for some people it could be something else. It could be a question of e-health. What does it mean for me wherever I am? And then make that a core theme of a national plan of action so that come the next open government partnership platform, then as South Africa we're able to report on it. And so countries choose and they create an open dialogue, open dialogues for people to participate and say, we think this is what we should talk about.
How is this beneficial for us as a country, and how do you conclude that?
You know, for me, when I think about us as a country, I think about the future. How do we inspire our youth? Whatever good we are doing today, if the youth are not the carriers of it, then I'm not sure whether it's sustainable. So it's important also to look at their aspirations. You know, it could be even the issue of, I've realized now that young people, they focus on really one thing, economy, and sometimes issues of identity. Who are they? How do, well, you know, the Japanese, when they say it was the Japanese and the Japanese spirit, what is the spirit of our youth? What's their focus? So we need, through this open government partnership, find ways of putting our young people at the center so that whatever we do is sustainable. It grows stronger and stronger for each generation.
Professor, thank you so much for your time, and let's hope that you have yourself a festive season ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much to you and the listeners as
That was the Deputy Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, joining us in studio.
Yes, let's shift our focus now to some comedy on this lighter note. Now, it's come to the end of the year and we have much to celebrate in the world of South African comedy, from many of our favorites taking to the international stage. But while many of us take a break over the festive period, comedies are at the peak of their entertainment as locals and tourists flock to the hotspots such as Cape Town. But to tell us more about this, joining us from our Seapoint studios is radio sports presenter and comedian Dalen Oliver. A very good morning and thanks for being with us.
Hey, how's it, Reno, man? Thanks for having me. Really looking forward to chatting to you.
So it's the time of the year where we usually reflect on the year that was. And for you, can you tell us about some of the main highlights for you in comedy this year?
2016, wow, it's been a cool year for me personally. My one-man show, I came, I taught, I left, had a return, sold-out run at the Baxter. I had 2 weeks at the Baxter Theatre. I'm an ex-high school mathematics and history teacher, so I taught for ages, probably about 2 months in total, and then decided to write a comedy show about that. I did PE, Cape Town, and then Grahamstown as well. But the big highlight for me personally is the movie. I filmed the movie. Yeah, I'm play one of the leading roles in a South African comedy called Finders Keepers. The trailer actually released about 2 days ago, so it's online. If you head over to YouTube, you can check it out. And it's set to release in about Feb, March, April next year in 2017. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. A new venture for me, being seen on the television screen in an acting capacity and not in a theater space where I'm on stage as a comedian. But yeah, that was a good year. Enjoyed it. People laughed. That's the main thing. And yeah, we need to laugh. We need to let go of what happened and we need to reflect in it by using humor as a mechanism to do so.
So you just said now that you ditched teaching to become a comedian. Have you ever looked back and contemplated your decision?
Not really. There's been no contemplation, but I really enjoyed working with the youngsters. That was quite fun. Tons of experiences that I took from the classroom. One particular occasion when one of the boys told me about this new area that he discovered in Cape Town called Lagawe. And I asked him, where's Lagawe, my boy, my grade 9 history class. He said, no, sir, Lagawe is near the airport. I said, no, my boy, that's not the Lagawe, that's the Lughawe. That is the airport in Afrikaans. So you dealt with quite cool issues, which you don't usually deal with in the adult world. But yeah, no regrets. I enjoy being on stage, and it allows me to be myself and reflect on those issues that I experienced in the classroom. And, you know, the process of going from studies to being an adult, now learning about tax and medical aid and pension and debt, the things they don't teach us about at school.
I'm sure the kids gave you a lot of content for your comedy shows. But now, from teaching, you've now gone to sports presenting on Good Hope FM. So you kind of mix your sporting and comedy. You perform at some sporting events. Have there been any particular incidents this year in sports that have made for good, funny comedy?
There's always a good place for humor in sport. I always tell people that I'm similar to Herschel Gibbs, because when Herschel started, right, people weren't sure if Herschel was white or colored. And similarly with me, because Herschel had freckles, we weren't sure what he was. And then we heard him speak in a post-match presentation. We were like, yep, Herschel's one of the Brasse, definitely one of the Brasse. So yeah, there's always cool little sports incidents to look back on. And yeah, it's been a cool journey with Good Hope FM. I've been with the station for 4 years now, and they've enjoyed the brand of humor that I'm putting forward on air. And I still play some cricket, some club cricket for St. Augustine's in Alphindale. I always say that the reason I chose not to become a professional cricketer, AB de Villiers and I were in the same team. And I thought, you know what, AB, you go play for your country. They need you more than me. I'll rather go tell some jokes on stage and hope that people enjoy what I'm saying.
So we seem to have had quite a good year with South African comedians. A lot of comedians are making their way onto international platforms, winning awards. Do you think that we still have a long way to go, or have we made it?
I think South African comedy is in a really good space. Industry-wise, there's been a great growth over the past 5 to 10 years, industry-wise. If you look at the new guys that are coming through the ranks, and if you look at the established guys, I mean, if you look at Trevor Noah, the super success that he's had internationally, I mean, he's grown from being a South African comedian to a world-class comedian on the international stage. People all over the world are tuning in to watch him on The Daily Show. And then there's tons of other comics doing great work within South Africa, traveling abroad, building their base within the country. So I definitely think that it's a medium which is growing in the country, and it's one which is gaining momentum year by year, month by month, and it's only going to start expanding over the next couple of years. And then hopefully in the next 50 years, we can look back and say that it's taken the growth that that's had in the States and in the UK, where club comedy is happening day in, day out. There's about 4, 5, 10 gigs happening per night in Cape Town, in Joburg, in Durban, so that we've grown to that space. Because at the moment, we're still growing as a club comedy scene, but as an industry, we're really doing well.
On that note, you'll be performing in the Cape Town Comedy Club over this festive season. Tell us a little bit about the lineup and what everyone can expect.
Yeah, well, Cape Town Comedy Club has been doing amazing work over the past few years that has been established. Just voted into the top 10 comedy clubs in the world. So over the festive season, up until the 8th of Jan, it's running 7 nights a week. And the cool thing is the audience is from all over the world, from the States, from Sweden. We've got guys from Denmark, Germany, and then obviously the locals from the mother city, Joburg and Durban. And then I'll be there from the 26th until the 30th. But then we have an awesome New Year's Eve show. So on the 31st, we got a show starting at 9 p.m. Doors open at 6 p.m. Tickets available at CompuTicket. Guys can head over to capetowncomedy.com for all details. But there's 5 comedians on the lineup. There's a New Year's Eve countdown. We've got champagne cocktail on arrival. So yeah, they should pop in. It's a cool night out. Come laugh. We need to laugh. It's been a tough year, 2016. People are in debt. What better way to let that debt go than to come and laugh at Cape Town Comedy Club? And it's 7 nights a week now, so it's cool.
So quite a lineup there, but you have some quite exciting news for 2017, your Finders Keepers. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So Finders Keepers is, yeah, as I said, it's South African comedy. It's directed by Maynard Kraak, South African producer and director. Is from Cape Town initially. And yeah, I'm one of the lead characters I star alongside Niels van Jaarsveld, Stuart Taylor, Lisa Slabber, Sivin Gessie is the other comedian in there. We've got Irshad Ali, Grant Swanby, one of the veterans of the South African film and television scene. So I basically I'm a cleaner. I play a cleaner in a gentleman's club. And then there's some action, there's some comedy that's involved, and there's some love, there's some betrayal. And yeah, if you want to go check it out, hit up that trailer, Finders Keepers on YouTube, to go find out what it's really about. I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. It's also a different place for me because I'm used to seeing myself perform on stage where I can feel the laughs and the reception of the audience. But with the movie, it will be on the other side of the camera. So yeah, very interesting process. So looking forward to seeing it translate onto screen. But funny script, funny cast, and yeah, very, very keen to be part of it.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. It seems you got a busy festive season ahead of you, though, so good luck with that.
Thanks for chatting to me, Renee, and all the best with the rest of 2016. Hope you have an awesome festive season.
And to you. All right, that is Dalen Oliver, their comedian and a sports presenter, telling us all about Cape Town Comedy Club and a little bit more about himself. But let's see what's up next. To light up the festive season with some Christmas cheer on Newsroom, we have two lovely guests to take us into this festive spirit. Now, Cresta Shopping Centre has turned the lights on its 7-metre tall tree, which is decorated with over 800 Mickey and Minnie plush toys. Now, this event marked the start to the festive season and saw over 700 people join in on the magic of the evening. And Leanne Dlamini entertained the crowd with her melodies. But there is a special cause behind these festivities. Now, to tell us more about this, joining us in studio is General Manager of Cresta Shopping Centre, Virginia Bester, and local and international SAMA award-winning songstress, Leanne Dlamini. A very good morning to the both of you.
Good morning.
So it is Christmas. Everybody's getting ready to go and do all their Christmas shopping. How are you preparing? And you also have a special treat for the shoppers.
Yes, we wanted to do the Christmas Magical Toy 3 this year. It was initiated from London. Disney has done a toy tree over there, a Christmas tree, and we decided to bring that to South Africa. So Disney came to us, and then we said we will do in conjunction with them. So we are having the Christmas toy tree with this beautiful Mickey and Minnie Mouse on the tree.
Now, you had, last week you had the opening ceremony. Tell us about that. How did that ceremony go?
Leanne was the singer of the night with us. She also just released her third album, Now Warrior. Yes. And then she's also the founder of the
End Girl Hate.
End Girl Hate. Yes. So yeah, we really appreciate Leanne coming on board with us. Awesome, and we're really hoping that we can donate all of the 800 toys to the kids in the SOS Village Children's Centre. And we really appreciate working with you on this campaign.
It's an absolute honour for me to partner with Cresta and the SOS Village. I think what really got me was the fact that it's going to a greater cause than just us, and it goes beyond toys and the Christmas spirit. It's about giving, and that's what it is all about. The evening was incredible. So many people came out, the shoppers came. It really was just about Christmas and the magic of Christmas. We sang Christmas carols, kids were there, they donated plush toys to the SOS Children's Village. The atmosphere and everything about the evening was perfect.
Now, we can see that by these visuals. I mean, just look at this tree. It's absolutely amazing.
It's gorgeous.
So just tell us a little bit more about this tree. You're working with the SOS Children's Village, and you're hoping that all these toys get donated to this village at the end of the month. Is that right?
What we want to ask the public is to please come to Cresta and donate only from 50 Rand before the 24th of December. Then all of these toys will be donated to the children from the villages. And so we urge the public to please come and donate for this special cause that we're doing this year with Cresta Shopping Centre in conjunction with the SOS Village and Disney as well. So please, people, please come and donate.
So how do people get involved? Because I can imagine walking into this mall and seeing this massive tree with all these toys. A lot of people may not actually know what this campaign is about. So how do they get involved?
What we do have the station there in front of Mug and Bean. So there are people there during the shopping trading hours. So you can just go there, donate your 50 Rand, you get like a little card, and you write your own message to each children. There's a list of all the children. So you just write on that little card, and I attach that to the toy, and that will be delivered to the kids for Christmas.
Now, staying on that note of the kids, Leanne, you have your own campaign that you're working on, and I think it's also it ties in quite well with the 16 days of activism and working with the Children's Village. Can you tell us about your campaign?
Absolutely. I started I call it a movement called End Girl Hate about a year and a half ago, and it was really just something that I started on social media. I really wanted us as women and the young girls to start working together. There's just a sense that we don't support one another enough, and I really just wanted End Girl Hate and Women for Women to be about that. Started encouraging women on social media. The movement spread, and it's much bigger than I ever could have imagined. And now we're just really helping whoever needs help, whether it's women, whether it's children, and just to be a part of something like this for the SOS Children's Village is perfectly in line with what I'm doing. Yeah.
And what are you hoping to achieve through this campaign going into next year?
Wow. From now, going into next year, I think just for people to be more aware of what's happening with the SOS Children's Village and End Girl Hate, and that my organization is there to help whoever needs the help. And I think for Cresta, with SOS Children's Village, we really just want people to know that there are so many children who need our help, and even just contributing 50 Rand and giving this plush toy to one child makes such a huge difference. I think it's little things like that that we take for granted because we have everything at our disposal, and you don't understand how truly important it is for one child to receive even just a plush toy. So we really just want to make a difference to children's lives this year, and that is what we would do going into 2017.
Well, for those who are the shoppers that are feeling quite generous, if they want to donate more, is that possible? Is there a desk where they can go to make a bigger donation?
Yes, they can do it at that desk where they normally do the normal contributions, and there's also we keep track of everything that gets donated. So, yeah, they can do more than 50 Rand.
Yes, you don't have to stop there.
Please.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. Leanne, I saw you performing at the events. It was magical.
Thank you.
Do you have any performances lined up over the Christmas season?
Oh, my word. I do have one actually next weekend. It's part of the End Girl Hate event, and I think all the information you'll be able to find on my social media pages and website. So go out and look for that. I do have a performance then, and also New Year's Eve I'll be there, but Cresta was last week.
Just in closing, what would your messages be to the public who are looking to donate or in some way be involved in a cause this Christmas?
We would just say, please donate, because, I mean, we need to help the children they need. I mean, they're not so fortunate like we are. So, I mean, it's so nice just to get involved. I mean, for us, it's just a plus toy. But for the children, it's a huge thing. I mean, some of them don't even have anything to play with. So I think this plush toy will really help a lot for those children this Christmas period.
And for you?
I think my message to the public and just everyone out there, come to Cresta, make a difference in a child's life, and you have no idea how much it would mean to us and to them. And then if you can't come to Cresta, wherever you are, even just giving someone something as basic to us as a plate of food, a warm meal to eat. So just go out there and make a difference and touch someone's life in a special way this season.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. A wonderful cause, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There you have it, spreading the festive cheer and do something good for someone this Christmas. That's the message. I did a quick change. No, that was an interview we did last week. And of course, they have received over 60,000 Rand in donations and are still hoping to achieve more in order to help out the Children's Village. So if you're feeling a little bit generous, go over to Cresta and make a donation so that a child can receive a toy on Christmas Day. But now it's over to Kendall, who has your sports.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you. This is what we've got for you in the sports this morning. We start off with PSL News, where Kaizer Chiefs have ended their 7-match winless streak as they beat Polokwane City 3-2 in their absolute premiership match. Now, this happened at the FNB Stadium. Golden Arrows drew 1-1 with Baroka FC at the Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane.
Relegation threatened Baroka won a penalty halfway through the first half. Richard Matloha stepped up to make it 1-0 from the resulting penalty kick. Soon after that, Bahaha were reduced to 10 men as Percival Nkabinde received his marching orders following a second bookable offence. In the second half, Abafana Bestende came out guns blazing and the Zimbabwean midfielder Denny Piri made it 1-1 with a volley. In Johannesburg, Polokwane City had a chance to take the lead after Willard Katsande's foul on Puleng Tlolane in the penalty area, but Rodney Ramagalela failed to make it count. 6 minutes later, however, Ramagalela redeemed himself as he opened his team's account. And just after the hour mark, Bernard Parker restored parity, connecting with Spiwe Shabalala's cross from the left flank. New signee Joseph Malungwane made it 2-1 to Chiefs as he opened his account for his new club. Chiefs, however, failed to hold on to their lead as Tlolane made it 2-2. That was before Katsande's brilliant striking stoppage time gave the Steve Khompela-led troops maximum points. Mduduzi Ndlovu, SABC News.
So that's exactly why we're going to be bringing you a quick summary of all the action from the weekend. We start with we're not going to talk about Friday or Saturday. We're just going to go straight through to Sunday, 18th of December. Kaizer Chiefs 3-2 beating Polokwane City and a 1-0 draw for Golden Arrows and Baroka. Let's look at the top 8 in the log standings. You'll see that there's been quite a lot of movements. Cape Town City FC, though, still stay top of the log standings, and that will come up shortly. Bidvest West moving upwards with their win on Saturday. SuperSport United downwards. Kaizer Chiefs stay in 4th position on 21 points. Welcome relief there for Steve Khompela and his Chargers. Polokwane and Golden Arrows moving downwards. Orlando Pirates and Maritzburg United bringing up the rear in the top 8. We go to the bottom half of the log, and in the bottom half of the log, you'll notice that Highlands Park and Free State Stars have gone downwards, are in the relegation zone. Baroka FC have moved upwards. They're sitting on 12 points, having won 2 matches. We also have Bloem Celtic and Platinum Stars, who are sitting on 13 and 12th. They moved downwards from the last time out. Ajax Cape Town moving up. Mamelodi Sundowns, they've got played 8 matches and 16 points, having won 5, drawn 1 and lost 2. Now, Manchester City came from behind to beat Arsenal 2-1 and moved above them into 2nd place in the Barclays Premier League. Theo Walcott fired Arsenal ahead from an Alexis Sanchez through ball. Leroy Sané equalized 2 minutes after the restart. City's winner came through Raheem Sterling. Let's take a look at the goals from this match.
Sanchez. Lovely ball. Walcott! A 5th-minute lead for Arsenal.
Raise it, respond.
Silva. And Sané! De Bruyne. Glorious cross-field effort. Sterling. This stretches Arsenal. Forces gathering in the middle. Sterling! Never mind the forces in the middle. He's a one-man wrecking force. Arsenal have lost their lead. Parity's gone as well. City in a position to win from behind in the Premier League for the first time in 4 years.
And of course, in Spain, talismanic forward Luis Suarez celebrated a new 5-year deal by scoring twice in a 4-1 thrashing of Espanyol in the Catalan derby yesterday. Lionel Messi was once again in sublime form. Now, here are the highlights of Barcelona at its best as it closed to within 3 points of Real Madrid at the top of La Liga.
Left-footed right winger, Mascherano goes to grab, and Iniesta sets things moving again. Brilliant ball by him
Ball's perfect into Suarez. Excellent control. Suarez! Sensational Barcelona goal. Messi quickens the feet, draws defenders. Iniesta slips and somehow regains his balance and retains the ball. Messi, they're teasing Espanyol here. This is outrageous from Lionel Messi. Outrageous from Messi, and whisked home by Suarez. Neymar, here he goes again. 2-0 Barcelona. Messi. Oh, he's taken everybody on. This time it's Jordi Alba. Will be in Las Vegas next, this magician. He is unbelievable. He doesn't score the goals, but he creates the goals. Piatti. Beautiful ball. Back inside. Can they get something here? Well,
Great goal.
it is a very good goal. David Lopez closing the gap on Real Madrid.
He's onside. Look at
Messi
this.
is away. Will he get his goal this time? Can he tap it off? He gives it to Suarez. He gives it back to Messi. The best on planet Earth.
Oh, Rob, he is a genius.
And just to even things out, I'll have you know that Real Madrid did win the FIFA Club World Cup 4-2 with Cristiano Ronaldo netting a hat-trick. These are the leaders of La Liga. Now, going on to other sport news, former world champion Bernard Hopkins' long and illustrious career ended in a brutal defeat when the 51-year-old light heavyweight was knocked out of the ring in the 8th round of his final fight in Los Angeles on Saturday.
Rayfield suggested to Hopkins 2 possible opponents.
Big right hand. He's out. Outrage.
Oh, my gosh.
A month short of his 52nd birthday, Hopkins lost by a technical knockout to fellow American Joe Smith Jr. at the iconic Forum when he failed to return to the ring within 20 seconds of being punched through the ropes. Hopkins had not fought since a crushing loss to Russian Sergei Kovalev 2 years ago. His first ever defeat inside the distance looked increasingly likely as the bout progressed against a man ranked second by the WBC.
He's being assisted by a lot of people at ringside.
He's out on his feet.
That should disqualify him.
He's out on his feet, though.
And it's over.
Hopkins appeared to land on his head but remained conscious and was helped to his feet but could not make his way back into the ring within the 20-second time limit. Hopkins heads into retirement with a 55-8-2-2 professional record. It includes 32 knockouts and registered a record 20 defenses of his world middleweight title from 1995 to 2005. Smith improved to 22-1 after successfully defending his WBC international title for the first time. Way to go out. You should have retired and stayed out. That's definitely not a way for a 51-year-old to be treated by a youngster, is it? Talking about going out, that's how we leave it on Newsroom. We're going to be back tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock sharp until midday with the entire team. Thanks very much for having joined us. You can join us then again. Until tomorrow, this is Alex Sind.